Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto had the Sun and Moon seal. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by SamHetfield and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. The Orange Hokage, Prologue, The Will of Fire, October 10th, somewhere in the borders of Konoha. Ayawa. That hurt Tebani. This loud scream could be heard from far away. It was a good thing Uzumaki Kushina, the one who screamed, was not in Konoha, but in a cave nearby guarded by 3 ANBU chosen by Sarutobi Hiruzen, the former Sandaime Hokage himself, struggling during her childbirth. The Sandaime's wife, Biwako, and a female ANBU medic by the name of Taji were helping Kushina give birth, while Kushina's husband, Namake's Minato, otherwise known as the Yellow Flash, and also the Yondaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, was using his knowledge of the Uzumaki's Fuinjutsu, sealing jutsu, to prevent the Kyuubi no Yoko to come out of Kushina's body. You see, Kushina was the Kyuubi's second Jinchuriki, the first being Uzumaki Mito, her grandmother's relative and wife to Senju Hashirama, the founder of Konoha and the Shodaime Hokage, but that's a story for another time. Right now, the seal used to guard the Kyuubi inside Kushina was weakened because of her pregnancy. During childbirth, the Kyuubi would definitely try to force its way out of Kushina, hence the reason of Minato being there, to stop the Kyuubi. Are you sure she's alright? I've never seen her with so much pain before, said Minato. Don't you worry about her, said Biwako. She's fine. You just keep dealing with the Kyuubi's seal. Kushina kept screaming in pain, and Minato, as her husband, was obviously worried. But you are the Yondaime Hokage, so act like a Hokage already, responded Biwako. Any man would have already died with these contractions. But women are strong. Both Kushina and Minato could feel the Kyuubi trying to weaken the seal even more and break free. Ugh, this thing is really strong, please, hang on, Kushina, thought Minato. Please hang on, Naruto, said him out loud, worried about their son. Meanwhile, a cloaked and masked man single-handedly killed the 3 ANBU guards and looked at the entrance of the cave, while walking towards the wall and passing through it, like a ghost. I can see the head. You're almost there, Kushina, said Biwako. Hang on, Kushina, said Taji. Kushina was screaming and moaning in pain more and more, while the Kyuubi was getting closer to break free. Come out, Naruto. And you just stay there, Kyuubi, said Minato, struggling against the mighty Bijou. Until a baby started crying. Naruto was finally born. Hot water, quick, said Biwako. At this moment, Kushina stopped screaming and started panting heavily, while dropping a few tears, of both pain, relief and utter bliss. Minato gazed in wonder to the new face. It's born! The baby was crying on the top of his lungs, as a result of the pain of the first breaths of life he was taking. Minato also cried, but just like Kushina, he was crying for joy. I can't believe I'm becoming a father today, said while wiping off a few tears, with an ear-to-ear smile. It's a healthy baby boy, said Biwako, while walking with Naruto towards Kushina. Minato wanted to hold him, but Biwako stopped him. Don't. The mother gets to see him first. She approached Kushina and put the crybaby beside her. Kushina looked at her son in wonder. Naruto, I'm so happy can finally see you. You two will have plenty of time later. Hush it now, little one, said Biwako, taking Naruto to the end of the room to put him in a proper place to rest. Minato approached Kushina and picked her warm hand. It was sweating due to her hard work. How are you feeling now, Kushina? He asked. I feel fine now, Minato, answered Kushina, smiling at him. Minato could only smile back at his wife. Thank you for this wonderful gift, Yash, said him, fisting his palm, as he was preparing himself. I know you just got out of labor, but I'm going to reinforce the seal and stop the Kyuubi from trying to get out. He was about to perform the reforging of the seal, when Naruto started crying, while the other 2 women screamed and fell dead on the floor. Biwako-sama. Taji, was all Minato could say. Yondaime Hokage Minato, get away from the Jinchuriki, said the masked cloaked man, holding Naruto with one hand and threatening his life with the other. Otherwise, this child's newfound life will be lost in just a few moments. Minato wondered who this man was and how in the world did he pass through the barriers. Suddenly, Kushina started moaning in agony, while the seal was getting weaker, since Minato didn't reinforce it. Kushina! Shouted Minato. Damn it! Kyuubi seal, he thought. Get away from the Jinchuriki. You don't care about having your newborn child killed this instant, do you? Said the masked figure, wielding a kunai ready to kill the baby. Wait! Calm down, said Minato, not calm at all. The mysterious figure just answered, say for yourself, Minato. I'm as calm as one can be. In this moment, he threw Naruto up high. Kushina gasped in horror, yelling Naruto. The cloaked man jumped, ready to kill the child, when Minato reacted. In a blink of an eye, Minato was in the corner of a wall, holding Naruto in his arms. The masked man could only fall on his feet, while he said, You really hold up to your name, Yellow Flash, but what are you going to do about this? While making half a ram seal, activating a few explosive tags stuck in Naruto's blanket. Kushina noticed the blanket quickly catching on fire, and only had time to shout Minato, Naruto, before they disappeared in midair. Minato, on the other hand, had time to listen to his wife shouting, "Teleport to a warehouse, get rid of the blanket," and jumping out of the now crumbled in pieces warehouse. Naruto was crying in his arms, but didn't seem to be hurt in any way. Minato sighed relieved. "Thank goodness you're safe, Naruto." Minato noticed a stack of wood stuck on his leg, and he quickly removed it, hurting just a little. "I had to use the Haraishin no Jutsu to make out of this," thought Minato, "but because of that I had to separate myself from Kushina, who happens to be that man's target. I must hurry." By the time he had these thoughts and threw the piece of wood he held to the ground, he already used the Haraishin once more, this time arriving in a house, which probably belonged to him and Kushina, and now Naruto. Minato put the now sleeping Naruto inside a large cradle and whispered at his ear. "I managed to save you. Now you stay here, son, while I'll go save your mother." Meanwhile, Kushina was being held by chains made of writings of her seal, and too weak to move because of the labor she's just been through. "What do you want?" asked her, panting heavily, to the masked man. He answered, "I'll remove the Kyuubi from you, and with it, I'll destroy Konoha." Kushina could only flinch slightly to his answer. "What?" Minato's Shunshin no Jutsu allows him to move instantly from one place to the other, teleporting between his marking. "I'm sure that he put a marking in you as well, so he could protect you. However, I managed to separate you. Not only that, due to your labor, the seal holding the Kyuubi is weaker than ever," said the masked man. "Do you have any idea how long I've waited for this?" In a short moment, Kyuubi's seal started to be ripped apart, and Kushina was surrounded by a red cloak of chakra. On the inside, Kyuubi was getting rid of its chains, and its sharp iris was altered to a round iris with 3 commas surrounding it, resembling the masked man's weird eye pattern. The masked man was making half a ram seal for concentration, and then he said, "Now be free, Kyuubi." The red chakra took the fox's format, and started leaving Kushina's body and forming a physical body of its own. Kyuubi spread its tails and gave a loud roar, announcing its freedom. In reality, the demon was just as imprisoned as before, only now it was in a physical form. Kushina's remaining red chakra teared itself apart, and left her body falling to the ground. The masked man looked at the demon and stayed calm and collected as he turned on his back and said, "Great. Now I'm going straight to Konoha." As soon as he started walking, he heard a faint voice saying, "Wait." He stayed his feet and looked at Kushina, surprisingly alive, even though the bijou just left her body in a brutal way. "The Uzumaki clan is truly amazing indeed. To be alive even after having your bijou extracted," said him. In this moment, the Kyuubi glared at Kushina, with its new eye pattern, as it was being controlled. And in fact it was. "You were the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Now I will use it to kill you." The Kyuubi then slammed its fist to the ground where Kushina was standing. There was nothing left but crumbles. Suddenly, in the top of a nearby tree, Minato appeared holding Kushina in his arms. He made it just in time. "And so, a little flash of hope appeared, but it's too late now," said the masked man, looking at Minato, emotionless. Kushina was weak and panting as strongly as she could. Despite being exhausted, she still had the strength to ask Minato, "Is Naruto okay?" "Yes, he's safe now," answered Minato. Kushina was relieved. "Thank you. Listen, Minato. You need to stop that man and the Kyuubi right now. He's going straight to Konoha intending to destroy it." Minato glanced at the masked man with a really menacing killing intent before hearishing his way out of the field. The masked man just said, calm as ever. He took off again. "Well, never mind. I'm going to Konoha now." Minato and Kushina arrived at their house. Kushina could only whisper why, as Minato carried her close to the cradle where Naruto was sleeping. "It's alright now," said Minato. "Just stay with Naruto for now." Kushina was put beside Naruto, who was sleeping peacefully. She could only look at him and slowly embracing his small body close to her, as she was close to crying, fearing for his life. Naruto was all she could whisper to her newborn son. Minato looked at them with sadness in his eyes and anger in his closed fists. He almost let the ones he loved die, and he could not forgive that masked man. He quickly opened his drawer and picked his white cloak. On the back, the words Yondaime Hokage were written in strong red, and the bottom part of the cloak had red fire drawn in it. Kushina looked at her husband and whispered, "Minato, thank you. Be careful, okay?" Minato nodded and hastened towards Konoha, saying, "I'll be right back." Meanwhile, in Konohagakure no Sato, the streets were bright, even at nighttime, and the people were cheerful all around the village. You could see children playing in their houses, young couples hanging out on the streets, adults having fun in the night pubs, and shinobis practicing in the after hours. Nothing seemed to be wrong at the village founded 88 years ago by Senju Hashirama, the Shodaime Hokage. But there was still something in the air. Something dark and cold, like the calm breeze before the storm. Then it came. The masked man appeared in a calm street, formed the seals and activated the Kuchiyose no Jutsu. Before anyone noticed, a large puff of cloud came forth, backing off a few people and tearing apart a few debris, due to the strength of the explosion. Some people who were knocked off started raising. The voices were already being heard around Konoha. What was that? Where did this puff come from? Did someone use a Kuchiyose? Could be heard everywhere. As the puff of could started to disappear, a huge figure could be seen and a growl could be heard. A random man noticed the figure moving, its red eyes shining in the mist, and also saw a few tails waving around. Is that no, it can't possibly be, said him, stunned. When the puff of cloud cleared off, the figure could be clearly seen from anywhere in the village. The man just had time to yell out loud Kyubi, before he paralyzed in fear again. People started running in panic, fearing and screaming for their lives. The masked man raised his head and commanded, now, go forth Kyubi, raise Konoha to the ground. The Kyubi could do nothing but obey, while it started tearing off buildings with a wave of its claws and tails, and even its loud roar. People were being torn apart and killed, and in a few seconds, a whole district was left in crumbles. Meanwhile, an ANBU arrived at Sarutobi's house and gave his report. Sandame Hokage-sama, it's an emergency. The Kyubi just appeared from nowhere inside Konoha ANS. It's tearing the village apart. I'm aware of that. I'll do what I can to stop it, responded the Sandame, getting his battle gear ready. You go ahead and rescue and evacuate the civilians. Yes, sir, answered the ANBU before taking off. Hiruzen was lost at his thoughts. Kushina's seal teared apart? Despite every precaution, we still failed? Biwako, however, these answers would have to be put aside. The Sandame rushed to the attack site, where the Kyubi was razing everything to the ground. Many shinobis were attacking the fox from every corner, with all assets, jutsus, and weapons available. But it was futile, because they couldn't even scratch the bijou, while it raised its fists and tails to kill all ninjas nearby. It's too powerful, said one. It can't be defeated, said another. A third shinobi said, it's not about defeating the Kyubi. We can only distract it so the civilians can evacuate, but he was interrupted by Kyubi's giant fist smashing the three shinobis. In this very moment, standing above his statue in the Hokage monument, was Minato, his eyes fixed on the Kyubi and Konoha. His thought was just one, as the Hokage, I'll gladly give my life to protect my friends, my family and my village. Because that is my one and only task. I won't let you do as you please anymore. The Kyubi then gazed its eyes on the Hokage monument, and started preparing for an all-out attack. So it noticed me, said Minato, preparing a few hand seals. You will not go further. By the time we prepared the seals, the Kyubi let out its Bijudama towards Minato, who in the same second stopped the chakra sphere, and absorbed it with the Jukuken Kekai. The next moment, there was a huge explosion a number of miles away from the village. It's really that powerful? Minato thought. I have to be careful where I land the next one. Inside Konoha, Sarutobi yelled, okay, now it's our time to hold the Kyubi back. Go! Minato was standing at the shinobis fighting, while preparing to leave the monument and report to Hiruzen-sama, when suddenly the masked man appeared before him. Before he noticed, he tried to land the kunai in the man's head, just to go right through it, like a ghost. Suddenly, the masked man grabbed Minato's hand. I'm your opponent now, and it's over for you, said him, performing a strange jutsu that was trying to suck Minato in some sort of alternate dimension. He would have been successful if it wasn't for Minato's harassment. He's gone again. He's really fast, said the man to himself. Next time he won't be so lucky. The moment I touch him, he's finished. Minato arrived in the crumbles of the warehouse he first harassed with Naruto. He fell on his side doing that, while thinking to himself, my attack went right through him, yet he materialized himself after that to grab me. What sort of jutsu was that? The moment he was done thinking, the masked man teleported himself, and was standing before Minato. I won't let you escape, said the masked man. His mask was being kissed by the moonlight, so his eye could be clearly seen. It was a Sharingan. Minato went back into thinking. He teleported himself? Is that how he reached Kushina so quickly? Then he started tying the knots one after another. He killed 3 ANBU members chosen by Sandame-sama himself, went right through a high-level barrier, and knew about the conditions of the Kyubi's seal during childbirth. Not only that, he broke the seal, tamed the Kyubi, and also went in and out of the Konoha barrier without being detected once. I know only one shinobi in the world capable of knowing all he knows and doing all he did. Then Minato broke the silence. Are you Uchiha Madara? The masked man took off his hood, showing a bit of his short hair. No, that's impossible, said Minato. He died a long time ago. Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that, said the masked man. Minato kept going. Right now, I don't care anymore about who you are, but I do want to know what is your goal with Konoha. The masked man raised his head to glance at the moon and answered, you may say it's mere vagary, or that I planned it all, or that I'm aiming for war, or that I'm aiming for peace, said him, while he picked a couple of chains and locked them in his arms, as an ensnaring and strangling weapon. Whatever the reason is, he's not just anyone, thought Minato. He's able to control the Kyubi, and his teleportation technique surpasses mine and Naidame-sama's, and his ideals are dangerous. I need to deal with him now, or the Kyubi will be a smaller thing to handle than him. Seeing Uchiha Madara getting ready to attack, Minato thinks a bit more. If I make my way to Konoha now, he will follow me and the battlefield will become even more chaotic. If he has something to do with Madara, I know he will not be able to hold the Kyubi much longer. I have to leave Konoha in the hands of Sandame-sama. As for me, as he handles his tri-pronged kunai in a ready stance, I have to deal with him here and now. The masked man takes a step back and says, now that I have the Kyubi under my control, you don't have any hope. The two shinobis jump at each other. Minato puts his kunai in front of him in an attempt to stab the masked man, but once again he just passes through him like a ghost. The next moment, the masked man uses his chain to try to ensnare Minato, but the yondaime easily escapes using the Hiraishin. Putting some distance between them, Minato goes back into thinking. My physical attacks don't seem to do anything against him, but he materializes himself in order to attack me. It looks like I can only damage him if we both attack at the same time. While Minato kept thinking, the masked man prepared himself for another attack. It might be dangerous when he attacks me, though. And considering the fact that the Kyuubi's Kuchios will be over soon, I don't think he wants this battle to go any longer either. The one who attacks a millisecond faster wins this battle. These were Minato's last thoughts, as they charged against each other again. This time, Minato threw the kunai against the masked man, passing right through it again. The masked man was also getting ready to grab Minato's arm and suck him to wherever he was attempting to before. Every single fraction of second mattered and no mistakes were allowed. In the exact millisecond the kunai went through the masked man's head, Minato had a full-powered Rasengan ready. The masked man was just few millimeters close to grabbing Minato's arm. "It's over," he said. In the blink of an eye, Minato Hiraishined himself right above the masked man, and slammed him with the Rasengan, creating a huge crater on the ground. "Damn it!" He teleported himself to the kunai he just threw, thought the masked man. "That was my Hiraishin no Jutsu, level 2, said Minato, placing a strange mark on the spot he attacked with the Rasengan. All that was left of the attack was a few rock piles and a cloud of dust. The masked man jumped away from the crater and stepped on a column of earth, panting in exhaustion. His left arm was heavily damaged, to the point his hand was falling off, like a leper. He looked as Minato raised from the ground, without a single scratch. "Yeah, you got me," said the masked man. "I know a good dodge when I see one. I should have never left my guard up." Before he finished talking, Minato appeared in front of him instantly, stabbing him in the gut. "Hiraishin no Jutsu, though. I see he placed a seal on me, somewhere." Suddenly a circle of seals appeared on top of his cloak. The masked man gasped. "Kyakufuin? Though again. He intends to break my control over the Kyuubi." "Yes," said Minato, like he was reading his mind. "With this jutsu, the Kyuubi will no longer be yours to control." Minato completed the jutsu, and the Kyuubi was set free. One could see Kyuubi's eye turning from a Sharingan-like pattern to the cat-eye pattern. As the Kyuubi awakened, the Bijou started wreaking more havoc through the village. Sarutobi called a few A and BU shinobis to trace their strategy. "We need to stop the Kyuubi to increase the damage of the village. Let's force its way out of Konoha." "Yes, sir," said the group. "While I prepare my jutsu, you will distract the fox." "But me sometime, and don't stop attacking," said Hiruzen. "Yes, sir." "Come on, let's go," said one of the shinobis. They all advanced towards the Kyuubi, throwing all sorts of weapons and using the most advanced jutsus possible. Meanwhile, Hiruzen bit his finger to draw some blood and made a few hand signs. "Ninpu, Kuchios no Jutsu. Come forth, Enma, king of monkeys." A large pile of cloud appeared, and from it came a large monkey warrior, with a Konoha Hittite. "Kyuubi, how so the seal was broken?" asked Enma. "Yes," answered Sarutobi, "and we will push it away from Konoha with the adamantine Naya." "Got it." "Henge," said Enma, transforming itself in a large bow staff. Sarutobi then aimed the staff and the Kyuubi. "Extend!" The staff started extending itself until it hit the Kyuubi with a very heavy impact that pushed for a long distance. "Okay, I make the Kyuubi leave the village. Now keep attacking and don't stop," shouted Hiruzen, making a large number of shinobis attack the Kyuubi, while he was lost in his thoughts. "Minato, where are you?" Meanwhile, the masked man jumped on the branch of a tree, while his limbs were still rotting to the ground. "You make justice to your title," Yondaime Hokage said him. "You were able to hurt me and set the Kyuubi free. My congratulations. However, one day the Kyuubi will be mine again. I'm going to rule the world and there are many ways to reach my goal," said him while disappearing from Minato's sight. Minato looked as the man vanished and thought to himself, this feeling and his tone, he's not kidding now. He was set off to stop the Kyuubi, which was killing many shinobis. He Hiraishined to the Hokage monument, and saw the Kyuubi preparing another Bijudama, while the other shinobis were too weakened to dodge it, least of all stop it. "Oh no," thought him. He made the hand signs for the Kuchios no Jutsu, and just as the Kyuubi was almost done preparing the attack, Gamabunta, the boss of the Toads of Enti Mayaboku, was summoned right above the Bijou, landing on top of it and preventing the attack. Minato remembered that the masked man wanted the Kyuubi at any cost, so he thought through what he'd have to do to stop the fox and the masked man. "Kushina, please forgive me." He looked at Gamabunta and said, "Please, hold the Kyuubi just a bit longer. I need to focus a lot of chakra to teleport something this big." Gamabunta replied, "I don't know, kid, this is gonna be tough, even for me." Kyuubi was preparing for another Bijudama, which no one could avoid being hit. The Bijou was already charging the blast when suddenly it disappeared. The Hiraishin was successful. Suddenly a huge explosion was seen far away. "Over there. Let's move," said Hiruzen. The Kyuubi was on the floor, with a huge cleared field in front of it, showing the destruction left by its attack. In a moment, Minato appeared again, carrying Kushina and Naruto. Minato looked tired and about to faint due to chakra exhaustion. But he was persistent. "I need to put a barrier seal right away," he said. But my chakra reserves don't worry, Minato. I can take it, said Kushina, who was having internal bleeding. She was about to die due to the fact she had her bijou extracted, and her chakra coils were heavily damaged. She forced her last bits of strength to extract many golden sealing chains that surrounded a large area and rendered the Kyuubi motionless. Kushina started coughing blood, and because of the noise, Naruto woke up and started crying. I woke you up, didn't I? So sorry, Naruto said her, panting heavily. Kushina, said Minato, with sadness in his eyes. Kushina looked at Minato and, very weakened, said to him, I'll die here and take the Kyuubi with me. That way we can delay its resurrection. With my remaining chakra I'm gonna save everyone. Thank you so much for everything you did to me. Minato flinched as he listened to her words. He bit his lips, made up his mind, and answered, Kushina, thanks to you, I was able to become the Yondaime Hokage. Thanks to you, I became a man, and the father of this child that I'm holding. And still, Minato, rebutted Kushina. Don't look at me like that. I'm happy that you loved me, and today it's this child's birthday, and I can already tell that our lives as a family, the three of us together, would be priceless at this point. Minato was already crying. If there is one thing that I truly regret, said Kushina, is not being able to see my dear Naruto growing. If only I could be able to. Kushina, said Minato. You don't need to die with the Kyuubi. Save whatever little amount of chakra you have for your reunion with Naruto. These words made Kushina widen her eyes and look at Minato, surprised at him. I'm sealing you inside Naruto with the bit of chakra I still have as a part of the hack no Fuin Shiki. And with that, I'll be taking the Kyuubi with me with the only Fuin jutsu I can perform since I'm not its Jinchuriki, the Shiki Fujin. Kushina knew where this was heading to. But Minato, those who use this jutsu end up, but there is one more thing. I'll only be able to seal half of Kyuubi's chakra within me. It's physically impossible to seal such a large amount of chakra like that. And it's not strategically wise. If you die with the Kyuubi here, there won't be a Jinchuriki able to contain it when it resurrects, and the balance of the bijus will be disrupted. Half of Kyuubi's chakra will be sealed within me forever with the Shiki Fujin, and the other half at this moment. Minato reminds his conversation with his master Jiraiya about the child of the prophecy, who is to appear at a time of chaos to bring peace to the world, and looks at his son, a newborn, ready to rest this fate in his little shoulders. Will be sealed within Naruto as part of the hack no Fuin Shiki. Hearing this, Kushina gasped. I know what you want to say, but don't forget Jiraiya-sensei's words about what calamities would befall the world in the future. Tonight 2 things were clear to me. First is that the masked man who attacked you is a messenger of destruction, and second is that the only one with the power to stand against him is this child. This child, whose godfather is Jiraiya-sensei, will open the path to light as Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. I'm not sure why, but I'm convinced with that. But Minato, said Kushina, watching as Minato put Naruto on the ground. Sarutobi arrived at the scene, and saw Minato performing many hand signs. Shiki Fujin. With that, Minato summoned the Shinigami, that was standing behind Minato, holding a dagger in the mouth and a rosary in the left arm, and there were spiritual candles lit surrounding Minato's soul. Minato looked at Naruto, and said with conviction, let's deposit our trust and our future within this child. After all, he is our son. Those hand signs, it can't be Shiki Fujin, said Hiruzen, who could only stand and watch the scene. Minato looked at Kushina and said to her, when I'm finished, I'm sealing your chakra within Naruto. When the time comes for him to control Kyuubi's powers as a true Jinchuriki, I want you to help him. Kushina started crying as she said, This is our son. That's exactly why I don't want him to bear such a burden. And why use the Shiki Fujin? All of this so I could meet my grown-up son for just a little while. You don't need to die. I want you to be with him, and look after him. Why do this? To maintain the balance of the bijus? To protect the village, and the country? Why must Naruto be sacrificed as well? Why must you sacrifice yourself for me? She was looking at Minato with anger and sadness in her eyes, and hopefully waiting for his answer. To abandon your country and village, said Minato. Such acts are just as bad as abandoning your child. You of all people should know how, since your homeland was destroyed, that those who don't have a homeland have a life full of suffering. And you should also know that our family is a family of true ninjas. Minato looked at Kushina, as she looked at him, knowing that he meant, and finally, even if I did live, I wouldn't stand a chance against you. Even if you have little time to talk with him, it's your responsibility as a mother to tell him things only you could be able to tell him, and I couldn't. Remember that I'm not doing that just for you, but also for Naruto, said Minato, picking Naruto and holding him in his arms. And as his father, I consider a duty and an honor to sacrifice my own life for his sake. Hiruzen approached the barrier and tried to trespass it, but with no avail. What is this, Sandaime-sama? Asked one of the Jounins following Sarutobi. Damn it, said Sarutobi. This barrier meant to lock the Kyuubi also prevents anyone from entering it. They intend to take care of the Kyuubi by themselves. This is not good. Suddenly, the Shinigami raised its arm and trespassed Yondaime's soul, and then made its way to the Kyuubi, with the intention of grabbing half of the Biju's chakra and sealing it inside Minato. Damn you, Yondaime Hokage, said the Kyuubi. Phew! Then a massive fox-shaped amount of chakra made its way inside Minato's stomach, forming a seal and leaving a few burns. Damn, I'm losing my senses already, thought Minato. I knew I would seal a huge amount of chakra, But this is way beyond my expectations. Kushina's chain started to weaken, as the Kyuubi also became weakened. So this is the Shiki Fujin, he really meant to use it, said Sarutobi, as he watched the scene. One of the Jounins noticed the Kyuubi still moving. How is the Kyuubi still able to move, said him. It's a bit smaller, but it looks like the seal was not completed. What does this mean? Then, Minato summoned some sort of ritualistic cradle. Excellent. Now it's time for the hack no Fuin Shiki, said him, picking Naruto and putting him on the cradle. I'm going to seal the Kyuubi inside Naruto. What is he trying to do now, thought the Kyuubi. Can it be the ritual altar? He intends to seal me again and inside this puny baby? As the altar was ready, Kushina started coughing more blood and panting more heavily. She was not going to last for long. Kushina! Are you alright? Shouted Minato, rushing to her. In this moment, the Kyuubi saw its chance to kill the baby and prevent another sealing. But he didn't count on both Kushina and Minato standing on the way, being impaled by the Biju's giant claw, preventing it from reaching their son. I just told you, said Minato, coughing blood. That this is my duty as his father. I know, said Kushina, but I am his mother, so this is my duty. Two Hiruzen and the other Jounins following him could only watch, unable to do a thing to help. Sarutobi noticed the altar, and looking closely, he noticed something else. Is that a baby? Said him. The other Jounin noticed. Yes, it is. They're protecting him. The Kyuubi was motionless, since the chains were trapping it again. Damn you too, thought the Biju. This is the first time I lose a discussion with you, Minato, said Kushina. Okay, I understand that you really are set on doing this. Thank you, Kushina, answered him. Minato picked a small amount of blood dripping from his mouth, made a few hand signs and performed a Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning a strange toad with a twisted belly, as it was compressed. The toad freaked out when he realized where it was. Oh my god, the Kyuubi! And the Yondaime too? What's the meaning of this? Geratora, said Minato, I want you to keep safe the key of the hack no Fuin Shiki lock. And then, take it to Jiraiya-sensei and store yourself within him, understand? Hiruzen listened to Minato, and finally realized. Now I see Minato intend to save Konoha by making his son a Jinchuriki and keeping the key in safe hands. Geratora extended his belly to reveal the giant scroll contained within him, holding the formula of the seal and the key lock. You have my word, Yondaime. I will keep the key safe with me. And I'll be sure to deliver that one other thing too. I will be leaving now, said Geratora, placing his hands together and disappearing in a puff of cloud. That should be enough for now, said Minato. He noticed as the Shinigami was already hungering for Minato's soul. Kushina, my time is up. I'm going to start the hack no Fuin Shiki now. I'm putting some of my chakra as well inside Naruto for security measures. It will be long until we can see him again. I already have a few things arranged, but he might want to say a few things in person and now is the time. Okay, then, said Kushina. She took a deep breath and started saying her final words to her beloved son. Naruto, don't be a stubborn boy, okay? Eat healthy, nutritious food and make profit of your sleep time. Don't forget to take showers and keep yourself warm whenever you need to. And as I mentioned, if you want to make profit of your sleep time, don't stay up until late, and make friends. You don't need a whole lot of them, just a handful should be enough if you can manage to find friends and who you will really trust. Don't repeat my mistakes, study a lot and learn and practice as many ninjutsus as you can. Remember that everyone is different and people have good and bad characteristics, so don't be upset if you can't work something out when you go to the academy. Please respect your senseis and senpais. Oh, and another really important thing, it's about the 3 taboos of the ninja. First, be careful with your money loans and borrowings. Save your money from the missions for the important things in life. Second, no drinking until you're 20, and drinking too much will ruin your health, so be moderate. And last, but not least, are women. Since I'm a woman, I can't really say much on the matter, but don't you ever forget that this world is made of both men and women, so it's just natural that one day you will be interested in girls, but please don't go for the bad ones. Find someone like your mother. And about the 3 taboos, be careful with Jiraiya-sensei, okay, Tebane? Minato couldn't help but smile at this statement. Kushina started panting heavily and crying. Naruto, from now on your life will be full of pain and suffering. Always be true to yourself, have many dreams and make them come true. And there's so much, and so much more I wanted to tell you if I had the time, and I wanted to spend just a little more time with you. I love you. I love you so much, Minato. Sorry for using so much of your time, Sab. No, that's okay, said Minato. Naruto, what I wanted to say to you as your father is that, well, it's basically the same things your paranoid mother said. Hack no Fuin Shiki. Sometime later, in the outskirts of Konohagakure no Sato, Sarutobi Hiruzen was not crying. Being as experienced as he is, he didn't shed any tears. But his heart was as heavy as a stone, as he was heading towards his beloved village, along with a number of shinobis behind, all of them physically and emotionally broken, since they stood up to the Kyuubi, but little could do to save their beloved Hokage. Ahead of him, 4 ninjas were carrying the covered bodies of Namake's Minato, the Yondaime Hokage, Hiruzen's successor of the will of fire that protected Konoha every day, and Uzumaki Kushina, his beloved wife. Just a handful of people knew they were married, being them Hiruzen himself, Hatake Kakashi, one of Minato's students, Jiraiya, his teacher, and a select number of friends. and even a smaller number of people were aware of Kushina being pregnant, and even less people knew who the father was. The civilians and the majority of shinobis just assumed she took an important role in helping Minato killing the Kyuubi. The fact that the bijou was sealed inside their baby, Naruto, was to be concealed for now, while the fact that he was the Yandame's son was to be concealed for Kami knows how long. So she was praised as one of the main protagonists of this fateful evening as the bodies passed through the main gates, receiving cheers, but also tears. Hiruzen carried in his arms Minato's great legacy, which went by the name of Naruto. As he arrived home, he put Naruto in an old cradle. It was the same cradle used for his two sons, Shirato and Asuma, A/N. Asuma's brother, which would be Konohamaru's father, never had a name, so I'm just putting the name of an old anime character just for the heck of it, tongue sticking out. He then went to his office desk, sat on his chair and began collecting the thoughts and reminiscences of what was probably the longest night of his life. Being the second longest night, he found out the location of Orochimaru's old laboratory, the same night he tried but couldn't kill him, out of pity for his beloved genius student. As he collected the thoughts, he reminded of what he lost that night. Many civilians and shinobis, years of economy, history and legacy of old buildings, stores and libraries, his wife Biwako, his successor the Yandame, and also Minato's wife, Kushina. He lost many precious things and people. But he also gained two things. The first being Yandame's legacy, the baby who was sleeping in the old cradle. The second, although with a heavy heart, was the fact that he was to be, once again, placed as the Sandaime Hokage of his village. He gained the opportunity to set right many wrongdoings of his life and the lives of the people who lived in Konoha. He, as a member of an older generation than the current, would have the chance to pass on the will of fire not to one or two, but to 3 different generations of shinobis. Konoha's inhabitants would strengthen their bonds for years to come, and times of peace would overcome the previous years of war and pain. He looked at the newborn Jinchuriki, and couldn't help thinking of the suffering that kid would go through in his life. Hiruzen knew how hard and lonely was the life of a Jinchuriki. Being hated by its own people, with no family or friends, he knew Naruto's life would be harsh and painful. The worst of all is that he could offer little to no help despite being about to be reinstated as the Hokage, since he knew even though his law would be absolute, people would obey on their heads and mouths but disobey in their hearts, and do what they could to make Naruto's life as horrible as possible. He thought people would go as far as trying to kill the boy, blinded by their hate, hoping they'd take down the Kyuubi alone. Sarutobi knew he'd have to place A and BU members to protect Naruto from harm, or from fleeing. As he was lost in his thoughts, a puff of cloud formed behind him. He turned around surprised, fearing for the worst, until he saw it was Geratora, the toad responsible for guarding the key to Naruto's hack no Fuin Shiki. "Oh, it's just you, Geratora," said Hiruzen, relieved. "Don't scare me like that, I'm getting too old for this sort of thing." "My apologies, Sandaime-sama," said Geratora, "but Minato-sama wanted me to hand these to you." Geratora then opened his mouth and took from his tongue 3 scrolls. "What are these?" asked Sarutobi. "I have no idea," said Geratora. "I know for sure that this one," as he pointed to the black one, "is for you, and you should ready as soon as I make my leave." "Okay then. I will see what it holds," said Hiruzen. "Thank you, Geratora." "You're welcome, Sandaime-sama." "I'll be leaving, then," said Geratora, as he went back to empty Maiboku. Hiruzen opened the black scroll and read through its contents. His eyes widened more and more as he kept reading. Apparently, Minato thought about everything beforehand, and this was Hiruzen's trump card for dealing with whatever hardships Naruto would face on his life. He could only smile as he though excellent. This should make things easier for little Naruto. "Don't worry, Minato, your wish will be granted. I swear on my life and the will of fire." Chapter 1. A new light flashes on the horizon. Konohigaku no Sato. 2 days after the Kyuubi incident, Sarutobi Hiruzen had many reasons to be both happy and upset. He had just been reinstated as the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha. Although it was an opportunity to keep alive the will of fire that inspired him to protect his family, friends and the whole village, he had 2 problems. The first being reinstated after the death of his successor, Namikaze Minato, the Yandame, during the Kyuubi's attack on Konoha. The second being the fact that he, once more, faced the Hokage's ultimate bane, paperwork. And after yesterday's incident, the normally 3 piles of paperwork became 30 piles, from various formats and for numerous reasons, although most of them were orderings for damage repairing, since the Kyuubi left a vast amount of destruction on its way. And not only that, he would have to face the council all week long, regarding things such as the security measures to prevent whatever sort of invasion from the other shinobi villages, discussions with the High No Daimyo, feudal lord of the Fire Country, to help with the necessary funding to repair Konoha, reposition of the shinobi army to keep the high number of active shinobis. But the most important of all was the meeting that was about to take place in the next 5 minutes, which was expected to be one of the longest and most unpleasant meeting he ever attended to in his whole life. And that was regarding the future of the newborn Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, which for now held the name of Naruto, since no official files were yet found regarding the boy's clan heritage, if he belonged to any clan at all. Sarutobi was heading towards the meeting room carrying the baby on his arms, when his mind drifted to remember the events that took place in the previous night, specifically about the contents of the black scroll he received from Geratora, which Sarutobi would use as his personal trump card to turn the tide, if necessary. Flashback 34 hours ago, Sarutobi clan's compound. Sarutobi Hiruzen was still in shock after what he read in that black scroll. He was impressed at Minato's cleverness, to have predicted whatever thoughts Hiruzen had in his mind concerning the future of his son Naruto, and the life he would have to endure as a Jinchuriki. The contents were as follows. Dear Sandaime-sama, if you are reading this, I'm sure it pains your heart and the heart of all who live in our beloved Konohagakure no Sato to know that I died protecting the village from the Kyuubi. Probably your first doubt is how I managed to write this letter in so little time during the incident, and with so many things going on. Before I left Kushina tending for Naruto's safety, I swallowed a special medicine that processes my thoughts in a way it can be canalized with chakra and I can put them in a scroll, almost like I wrote them. And during the time I had to think, I thought of what I would leave to you and especially for my newborn son, Naruto. As you know now, I chose to seal half of Kyuubi's chakra inside Naruto, turning him in a Jinchuriki. You, more than most people, know the reason behind my actions. It is of knowledge of many shinobis throughout the world that the Uzumaki clan was known not only for being relatives to the Senju clan, nor their outstanding Fuinjutsu skills, but also for their amazingly developed chakra coils. Members of the Uzumaki clan have at least 4 times more chakra than many great shinobis out there. Even a baby like Naruto, with his undeveloped chakra coils, will grow up to be an amazing shinobi, and that is without the Kyuubi. Not only that, the Uzumaki clan is believed to be the only clan to support the Kyuubi, and that is why the previous Jinchurikis, being them my wife Kushina, and before that, Mito-sama, wife to Shodaime-sama, were from the Uzumaki clan. If my son wasn't an Uzumaki, I probably wouldn't dare to seal the Kyuubi within him, and if I wasn't willing to sacrifice my own son, I wouldn't even think about using another newborn. That would go against my convictions of justice and honor. That is why I chose my son. If the Kyuubi were to be killed, not only Konoha would lose the chance of having a Jinchuriki, the Kyuubi would fall into the wrong hands. Tonight I met a masked man who was responsible for breaking Kushina's seal and bring the Kyuubi to Konoha. He is very dangerous, and I didn't want to give him the chance of having the Kyuubi again. He would surely use it to bring chaos and destruction to the world. I strongly believe that my son will be the messenger of peace who will stand up against this masked man and save the shinobi world. That is why I want Naruto to be regarded as a true hero. Not only for being the jailer of the Kyuubi, saving Konoha every day, but for the promise of world-changing attitudes that will bring an end to the cycle of hatred, which was attempted many centuries ago by the Rakuta Sannin. If I know the civilian council well, they will probably try to execute my son, with some petty excuse about fearing that he might lose control of the Kyuubi and destroy Konoha. You can just assure them that my hack no Fuin Shiki is strong, and in fact is, no modesty involved, and they just might calm down. If they don't, you can just scare them by saying that the seal was just made yesterday and Kyuubi's chakra has not been yet adapted in Naruto's body. If he dies, the Kyuubi is released and we're doomed. After he's grown up, then it's safe to say that the Kyuubi will die with him. Although that might not be the best course of action, considering that he should probably have already become a skilled shinobi, set to protect Konoha and its inhabitants. But I know, deep in my heart, that despite what you say, the civilian council will obey you by words only, but their hearts will treat my son with hatred and abhorrence, and they will probably influence every citizen in Konoha to treat my son with hatred and prejudice. Whatever methods you will try to use will probably be futile against such hatred. But that is the life of the shinobi, an eternal battle against hatred. But please don't reveal them Naruto's heritage just yet. Their hypocrisy will tend them to turn my son in a spoiled brat with no true friends, and that will bring problems to both his life and the lives of everyone in Konoha. I want him to learn that everything in this life is through hard work and humility, and those will be his main weapons to change the shinobi world as we know it. My only regret is not be there for him. But I'm sure he'll make it through. Now please pay attention to what I'm about to inform you now. There are 2 more scrolls I have processed with my thoughts that should be of concern. The blue one is for Naruto, and Naruto only. It's my message to him, alongside a few things he should be wary about, when he starts facing the hardships of being a Jinchuriki. Give him the scroll when you think his life reaches the peak of sadness and loneliness. Although it pains both me and you, no matter how hard you try, Naruto will face such moment in his life. When that time comes, both you and I will be there for him, and from there I hope his life changes for better. The yellow scroll is to be used by both of you when the time comes. It concerns my will and testament. It ensures that both the Namikaze and the Uzumaki's legacy will live on. As you know, there will be a time Naruto will rise as both clans' legitimate heir and head. He will face political matters, enemies from both clans, in and outside Konoha and the Fire Country, and many other dangerous people. I need you to be very careful with this particular aspect, Sandaime-sama. For Naruto to rise as both clans' heir and head, he either has to become a very powerful and wise shinobi, or reach the legal age of 16. If he becomes a great shinobi before that age, and I'm faithful that he will, please help him to decide his future. Some might see his early rising as reckless, and will try to take advantage of him. Do not let him become clan head earlier than 16 unless he is strong enough to use both the Hiraishin no Jutsu and the Rasengan. Being this powerful will bring fear to the hearts of those who will try to bring Naruto down. and it will help people to understand that he's not the Kyuubi, but rather, he is a true ninja of Konohagakure no Sato, an heir to the Namikes, the Uzumakis, and the will of fire that protects our village every day. I hope you understood the reason you have this scroll in your hands. Please help my son as much as possible and make sure he becomes an excellent ninja, and always remember him to honor his parents by filling his life with love, friendship, trust, and pride. Not pride to be from powerful clans, but pride to be a strong shinobi willing to sacrifice yourself for the well-being of Konoha and the world. I hope my assumptions are correct and he truly becomes the world's savior. And thank you for everything. I leave Naruto in your more than capable hands, Sandaime-sama. With my highest regards, Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage. Back at present time meeting room of the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen entered the room, opening the 2 large iron doors, guarded by 4 ANBU soldiers, 2 outside the room and 2 inside. Everyone rose to the presence of the Hokage. The room itself was quite large, with a large oval shape. There were 3 tables. The first one was the Hokage's official table, on the center. It was fit for the Hokage and its personal advisors, and whatever special guests would sit alongside him, such as the daimyo, or even one of the 5 kages, if the possibility of that happening existed. The entrance Hiruzen used was his own special entrance. All the other members of both Shinobi and Civilian Council were to use the other door, which happened to be 2 not-so-large wooden doors, which were also guarded by 4 ANBU soldiers from both inside and outside the room. From the perspective of those who entered the room by this door, on the left side there was the large crescent moon-shaped table reserved for the Shinobi Council. All the heads of the most renowned Shinobi clans of Konoha sat on that side of the temple. The right side had a similar table, which was destined to the Civilian Council. There sat the citizens chosen by the villagers to represent the non-ninja families, businessmen and many other representations of the people. The Shinobi Council was known for the most important decisions of the village regarding the military force and security of the village, besides the pride and honor of Konoha, and also some of the most altruist decisions. The Civilian Council, on the other hand, was really effective to the economy of the village, but was known for the hypocritical members and egomaniac decisions. One of the most famous discussions was the permission of non-shinobi families to attend the academy. Although the military force would improve their numbers, the negative point was that the academy exams had their difficulty gravely reduced, and the overall quality of the shinobi army was weakened. And clearly some lucky non-shinobi families would take advantage of that to try to become members of the Shinobi Council for benefits, compounds and large power over some critical decisions. Overall, the Civilian Council was loathed with nasty and dishonorable people. Thank Kami, not a single non-shinobi family rose to power over the years. But even with the council, the Hokage's decision was supreme, and that was what prevented the Civilian Council's egoism to destroy Konoha. While approaching the chair, Hiruzen could hear whispers from all directions, but the majority of them were coming from the Civilian Council, which was also the source of many glares of hate and disgust at the baby. As Hiruzen sat on his chair, everyone sat down. Sarutobi immediately spoke. I begin now the first meeting of the emergency procedure. The debate to follow in this moment concerns the fate of the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, namely the newborn Naruto that I hold in my arms as we speak. As you know, the Yondaime Hokage Namikaze Minato could not kill the Kyuubi, so he decided to seal the demon within this child, an honorable act which cost his young life. I hope the decision we reach today be of most benefit to Konohagakure no Sato, and that the Yondaime's wish be fulfilled. With this initial line, Jiki Hakiro, agent of economy and representative of the majority of Konoha's business stores, rose up from his chair, saying, I can't certainly accept this at this moment. Sarutobi looked at him with a menacing look, forcing Hakiro to better choose his words if he wanted to make out of the room alive. Boy, growing up as one of Konoha, the Kyuubi destroyed many of our greatest stores, and the prejudices are beyond astonishing. It will take years to restore the economy to its previous pace, and it's all because of that demon. Some murmurs inside the Civilian Council were annoyingly agreeing with that dreadful saying as Hakiro sat down. At this moment, Yamanaka Inoichi, head of the Yamanaka clan, rose and replied the full economist's statement. You should be aware, dear Hakiro, that it was the Kyuubi indeed that destroyed the stores. But take a look once again at this baby in the Hokage's arms. Do you truly believe this child was responsible for this damage? And does anyone here thinks that by letting him grow up he will turn into a savage, ruthless destroying machine? Inoichi's statement silenced the room. Nara Shikaku, head of the Nara clan, rose up from his chair. I have to agree with Inoichi's statement. This kid is not the Kyuubi. In fact, he is the one keeping the Kyuubi trapped, and he is single-handedly saving every one of us by just breathing. Oh, spare me the pity, Nara smartass, said Genjuro Nakarami, superintendent of education, responsible for bringing forward the discussion regarding the non-shinobi families attending the academy. How are we supposed to accept this brat as our savior? He is, best of all, a scapegoat. A bargain chip. We could, at most, use him to intimidate some villages to our benefit. Hyuga Hayashi, head of the Hyuga clan, one of Konoha's strongest and most respectable clans, rose up. Never I expected the day a human life could be used for something as lowly as coinage. Even though the Hyugas were known as arrogant, they valued honor in human life, and strong ninjas overall. Have you no shame in wasting time looking for ways to explore his condition? Have you no honor in bringing him down to your level? He is a Jinchuriki. His condition and the creature sealed inside him could prove useful for the military forces of Konoha, which you, as I recall correctly, were responsible for decreasing their overall quality by bringing unworthy and weaklings to our ranks. The civilian council's reaction was not the best. How dare you, Hyuga? You think your oh-so-special bloodline limit takes away our right to fight for Konoha? I refuse to accept this monstrosity as a shinobi of our village. Silence, all of you, a loud voice uttered, silencing the room. It was Shimura Danzu, Sarutobi's old friend. He was known for commanding a secret ANBU squadron from the shadows known as Naruto. Although his methods and the training of his soldiers were extreme, he was a true patriot, trying to make decisions that would benefit Konoha. He rose up from his chair, showing his heavily damaged body, result from many years of war and loyal service to Konoha and the Hokage. He actually competed with Sarutobi for the title of Hokage, but the Nidame Senju Tobarama, Shodame's young brother, chose Hiruzen because he carried the will of fire. Nevertheless, Danzu was granted command of his special shadow forces, although he was someone to be feared. You civilian fools are missing the big picture here. Jinchurikis are known to hold immense power within. If we could bring forth their true potential and make them loyal weapons to Konoha's safety however, he couldn't finish his line, which was interrupted by Sarutobi. You will not treat him as a weapon, Danzu. Danzu's expression changed from neutral to slightly irritated. Your services to Konoha are most appreciated, but your methods of training and the way you destroy your ninjas' hearts are most unpleasant. I will not allow you to transform Naruto in an emotionless weapon. What would you suggest then, Hiruzen? Asked Danzu. Jinchurikis are known for being hated and lonely, despite whatever you want to try to make him live a happy life. Killing his emotions will prove to be useful, for he will not suffer from the inevitable prejudice that these civilian fools will have over him. The civilian council wanted to protest, but not only would they openly display their hypocrisy, but would also be facing the fury of both Danzu and Hiruzen. Sarutobi could only sigh and answer, perhaps you will never understand, Danzu. But even if you do make a point, as the Hokage, I will not allow Naruto to grow up emotionless and merciless. He will become a full-fledged shinobi by following the will of fire, and learning to love and protect Konoha, despite facing the hate of many. Think of that as the ultimate training. Danzu was frustrated by this turn of events, but he would not challenge Hiruzen. He never won any challenges against him. As you wish, Hokage-sama. The civilian council was also frustrated, since they would have to swallow the fact that the Jinchuriki would become a shinobi. They couldn't even suggest execution or exile, as the Hokage's orders were supreme, and he already made his point very clear. Sarutobi then made his final statement. As of today, a new law will take place. The secret regarding Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki will be classified as a S-rank secret, meaning that only Jounin-ranked shinobis and above should be aware of. Other than that, only the people of this council, and Naruto himself, when the time is right for him to understand his condition. When the time comes and Naruto becomes aware of his condition, he will be allowed to share his secret for outsiders and shinobi under Jounin rank under two conditions alone. The first being if I evaluate the person and deem him or her worthy of knowing and keeping the secret. The second being in a desperate situation that will require him to use his powers openly with my consent. Other than that, if anyone so much as mention the names Kyubi or Jinchuriki without my express permission, they are to be executed on the spot with no trial. Did I make myself clear? Everyone at the council meeting nodded their heads. And now, I would like to bring another point. As you are aware, the Jinchuriki is an orphan baby, therefore, someone must take care of him until he is able to, at least, take care of his most basic human needs. I don't know if anyone in the Shinobi Council would be able to openly receive Naruto in their compounds, but I'm sure the Civilian Council could at least provide an orphanage for the boy and an adult woman to breastfeed him until he's around 8 months of age. The Civilian Council was about to protest again, but they knew heads would roll if they did so. Yusen Makunara, a tender of children and teenagers' rights, rose up. There is an orphanage around 2 blocks to the right of the Hokage Tower's exit that provides food and shelter to war orphans. I could talk to the owner and arrange a place for young Naruto. Excellent, said Hiruzen. And please, make sure he's well treated. I will visit him twice per month. If I notice so much as a bruise or signs of negligence, punishment will be severe. Makunara did the best he could to hide his anger at hearing these words. Yes, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen could see the lie in his eyes, but he knew it was inevitable. Even so, he thought that this should be enough for now. He just had to make sure Naruto had someplace to eat and sleep. He couldn't guarantee Naruto's happiness, but at least he resolved the most urgent matters at hand. I now declare resolved the issue concerning the Jinchuriki Naruto. We will have a 1-hour break. When we come back, we will discuss the matters regarding our shinobi forces, greatly reduced by the Kyubi attack. All of you are dismissed, said Hiruzen, as everyone rose from their chairs and left the room. Hiruzen went back to the Hokage's office, to deal with as much paperwork as he could, since a 31st pile came to life after the meeting. His expression was that of a tired old man. I can't even resort to Kage Bunshins, they tire me too much now. I'm getting too old for this sort of thing. He could even begin his work. The door knocked. Come in. As the door opened, 3 men entered. Yamanaka Inoichi, Nara Shikaku, and Akimichi Chusa, heads of their respective clans, and known as the legendary Inoshikacho Trio, a powerful group formation for both investigation, stealth attack, close-quarters combat, and open-field combat. A truly devastating force. The 3 clan leaders stood before the Hokage and bowed to him. Shikaku was the first to talk. Hokage-sama, I'm sure you are aware that your actions, though noble, won't be enough to stop the civilians from hating Naruto. That is why we humbly request a favor of you. And what would that favor be, Nara Shikaku? Asked Hiruzen. Shikaku looked at Sandame's eyes and said, We request Naruto to be taken care by the 3 of our clans. Hiruzen's eyebrow rose at hearing this. As you are aware, Hokage-sama, said Inoichi, the Yamanaka, Nara and Akimichi clans are well known for their unbreakable bonds. We stand as a group and we look one after the other. And we were acquainted to the Yandame, so we are aware of his wish to see Naruto as a hero to Konoha, and since we value teamwork and friendship above anything else, said Chuza, we strongly believe we can raise Naruto to be a valuable shinobi for Konoha, teaching him the basics of teamwork abilities and giving him love and care as if he were our own son. Hiruzen was happy to hear the statements of the Inoshikacho trio, but his answer was as followed. I understand the opinion of you clan heads. I surely agree on your statements that Naruto would indeed learn a lot of good things and traits of what a shinobi should be, but I have to make 3 statements of my own to explain why I'm going to refuse your request, as humble as it is. The clan heads were a bit upset by these words, but they kept their heads up. Hiruzen took a deep breath and started talking again. The first one is that you did not bring this on the council meeting we just had. While I am aware the citizen council would try to refute your opinion, you should have brought the discussion into matter. Your hesitation clearly showed that your thoughts, though they are correct, now became too late to discuss. Although it doesn't seem to be the case, if this were to happen again in the future with Naruto living with you 3, that would surely be of prejudice to Naruto's proper growth. The second reason is that you 3 have sons of your own. I have no intention of disqualify you as parents, but your children follow your clan's lineage, and that is exclusive to your children alone. Naruto could not properly grow in an environment made with traits that only those of your respective clans can take advantage of. And the third argument is that I already have something prepared for him in the future, should it be necessary to take measures. I know the orphanage owners will not treat Naruto properly, despite whatever efforts I put into this issue. But even though it pains me to say this, Naruto will have to learn the meaning of suffering. As a Jinchuriki, he has to understand the kind of life that was destined for a Jinchuriki. He will have to deal with hate and suffering, as much as I don't want him to. But his endeavor through suffering, and the plan I have for him when the time comes will prove to be his greatest victory through the hatred of many civilians. He will learn to follow the will of fire, and he will prove himself and the people of Konoha so Sato to be, indeed, the hero the Yandame designed him to be. And even though the life you 3 plan to give him promises to be one of happiness, it will not be the best course of action to take. But I'm really happy you are willing to ease the pain he will be forced to endure, said Hiruzen, with a small, but truly blissful smile. Nara Shikaku smiled back, fully aware of the situation, and answered, As you say, Hokage-sama. We are aware of your decision, and you know better than all of us. We acknowledge our own mistakes and hope to see Naruto growing as well and healthy as we can hope. Inoichi also smiled and said, We can't provide Naruto a home, but as Chuza and Shikaku's sons and my daughter grow, we will see to it that they become Naruto's friends. It's the least that we can do. Chuza also had a few words to say, and if anyone tries to hurt Naruto, we will be happy to give our lives to defend him, and we hope the other shinobi clans will become open and friendly with Naruto as well. Thank you for your time and patience, Hokage-sama. The 3 clan heads bowed to Sarutobi and left the office. Sarutobi dropped his pipe for a few seconds as he rose from the chair, left the office and walked to the top of the tower. He then looked at Minato's carving on the Hokage monument with a smile on his face and thought, Your will is already becoming true, Minato. I have high expectations for the next generation. The will of fire will be stronger than it ever was. Maybe you are right. Maybe Naruto will be indeed this world's savior. I can only hope now that Naruto overcomes his harsh life and rises to be the strongest shinobi this village has ever seen since the days of Hashirama-sama. He then headed downstairs, for another meeting was about to begin. This was going to be a long week, Konoha no Sato, for years after the Kyuubi attack. It was a rainy afternoon ending. It was raining for almost 15 hours straight. It started around 2 a.m., and the rain didn't show any signs of stopping so soon. The streets were surprisingly empty and all the stores were closed. Even if it was a rainy day, there would be people walking or running and stores open. But the previous day was the reason why the streets were empty. The previous day was October 10th, the day Konoha celebrated the Fox Festival, celebrating Yandame's success in killing the Daemon Fox. Yes, killing it. The law set by the Sandame Hokage stated that no one was to know about the fact that Minato didn't kill, but rather sealed the Kyuubi inside a newborn vessel. Some people knew the truth, but they weren't allowed to spread it, for they were to receive the death penalty if they did so. But that didn't stop them to influence the other people to hate on the one responsible for holding the Bija at bay. Naruto was, for most people, as hideous and hateful as the demon fox itself. People loathed him with insults, intense bullying and glares of hate and abhorrence. And if it wasn't enough, they just pretended he didn't exist. That had an even worse impact than actually recognizing his existence. October 10th was also Naruto's birthday. If he was like any other kid, he would be happy about his birthday. But he wasn't like any other kid. He was a Jinchuriki, although he didn't know about his condition. His life only knew hatred and loneliness. Twice per month he received attention from the Sandaime Hokage who visited the orphanage Naruto lived, and those were the happiest moments of his life, until he turned 4. Instead of receiving birthday gifts like most kids, he was kicked out of the orphanage. The owners told him that if he was old enough to tie his own shoes, so he was old enough to live on his own on the streets, instead of filling space and preventing other war orphans to be adopted. Funny thing is, the war was over almost 10 years ago. If there were any war orphans, they should be graduating at the academy by now, or mostly have a family of their own. Naruto knew the truth, however. They absolutely abhorred him. He just didn't know why. What did he do to earn such hatred? Yeah, he pulled a prank here and there, just to draw some attention. And he did shout out loud in the middle of the street something like "I'm gonna be the Hokage, and then you'll all know who I really am, Dadabayo." But other than that, what did he do? Why do people hate him so much? Why was he left alone in the world? Who were his parents? These thoughts tormented him. He couldn't stop crying. He slept on the top of an busted cardboard box, with tears in his eyes. But as soon as the rain started during after hours, he abruptly woke up and rushed to the ceiling of a store. He was afraid to be kicked out rudely by the store clerk as soon as the commercial district opened, but it didn't. In fact, not a single store opened and not a single civilian left their houses. The truth is, Uzumaki Nara, the one who offered an orphanage for Naruto to live, was the one responsible, along with some friends and the whole civilian council, to have Naruto kicked out of the orphanage on his 4th birthday, and have the streets emptied the following day, so that Naruto could be lonely all day long. Despite Hiruzen's hard work, the people of Konoha saw Naruto as the true demon fox itself, and refused to acknowledge his act of heroism by being the Kyuubi's jailer. The kids didn't know the truth, but the adults could just tell them to stay away from that despicable brat. As the rain kept going, Naruto felt more and more lonely. He put his head between his shoulders and started crying again. By nighttime, the rain finally stopped, but only a handful of streetlights were lit. Naruto was walking down the road, covered in near-complete darkness, and he was hungry and thirsty. He didn't find anything to eat, and he didn't have any spare money either. The only water available was from the rain, and he didn't think it was safe to drink water from the rain, and he was right, it wasn't. He was covered in bruises, because before he was kicked out of the orphanage, the other kids beat him to a pulp by order of the owner. He fell on the street, about to faint, and possibly die, from body exhaustion, malnutrition and dehydration. But something happened that he never, ever expected to happen. He was saved. By the Hokage himself. The Hokage picked him up and took him to the hospital, where he was admitted into. He had to. Sarutobi made his point very clear, and put in a room with an 4-drop and an injection of nutrients in his body to make sure he wouldn't faint for the next days, although he still needed rest. Before he could close his eyes and sleep, he raised his head just a bit to look at his savior, and say, "Thank you, Jisan." Hiruzen looked at him with pity in his eyes. If it weren't for almost 50 years of experience of the shinobi way of life and 2 great ninja wars, he would have burst in tears at that moment. So much suffering, so much sadness, no more. He decided the time was now. Naruto was at his limit. More of that hatred and sadness and would surely commit suicide. Just thinking about this made Hiruzen's gut turn upside down. He would surely kill a handful of people for promoting such abhorrence, and punish another number for letting that happen after this. But right now, his only thoughts were focused on Naruto and his well-being. He then picked the blue scroll he had kept safe for 4 years and handed to Naruto. He was ready, and he hoped Naruto was ready. No, he knew Naruto was ready to take it all. "Naruto," said Hiruzen, "this scroll has been kept safe for 4 years. I know your life has been hard and full of pain and loneliness. And everything that is written here was written for you. It's a final message left by your father, and some advices you should follow if you want to fulfill your dreams. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?" Naruto was flabbergasted at hearing this. A message meant for him? From his father? He couldn't believe it. He didn't even think twice. He quickly took the scroll and hugged Hiruzen, despite his weak state, with tears dropping from his eyes. Hiruzen then left the room. Naruto quickly opened the scroll to read through its contents. The scroll's message was as follows. "Dear Naruto, if you are reading this, then you must be facing the hardest time of your life. Your life must be full of pain and suffering, and even though it's been a few years after my death, it somehow still pains my heart to see my son at this state, and you have the right to know why. As you are aware, you were born on October 10th, the day the Kyuubi attacked Konoha. It is said that the Sandaime Hokage saved the village sacrificing his own life killing the Kyuubi. That, however, is just a half-truth. You see, the Kyuubi is a biju. Bijus are forms of pure concentrated chakra, so it is physically impossible to kill a biju. You can, however, seal them. And that is exactly what the Sandaime did. He sealed the Kyuubi. But a biju cannot be just sealed in any person. Because of the way seals work with the development of chakra coils, if the Kyuubi were to be sealed in an adult, he would die instantly, and the biju would be set free again. So the Kyuubi was sealed inside a newborn. Specifically you? Naruto's eyes widened at reading this statement. For a moment, he couldn't believe it. But he kept reading. Right now, you might doubt at what is written here, but think for a moment. It all makes sense, right? The way people looked at you, the way they treat you. You are a Jinchuriki, and that is how the world treats them. With anger, hatred and fear. They are afraid of what's inside you. They don't see the kid named Naruto, they only see the demons sealed inside you, and that's why they treat you so lowly. But I beg of you, please forgive them. They are not to blame. Naruto did see the sense in this. But as soon as he said the part where his father asked for him to forgive them, he wanted to shred the scroll in a million pieces. But he kept reading nevertheless. The Yondaime wanted you to be seen as Konoha's greatest hero. The one keeping the Kyuubi jailed every day, saving Konoha by just being alive. But the destruction and death the Kyuubi left behind were too much and people couldn't forgive nor forget. And worst of all, the Hokage was dead. How could his sacrifice and wish be granted if people only saw the bad things that happened and were blinded to realize the chance of rebuilding their lives? That is why they hate you so much, even though you were partly a victim of all of this too. Your mother knew this would happen, that's why she at first refused to let you be Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Naruto suddenly widened his eyes again. His mother was mentioned now. He then went back to reading. Now you must be wondering who we are. Well, I'm not gonna keep you waiting anymore. Your mother's name is Uzumaki Kushina. She was a strong kunoichi from the renowned Uzumaki clan, specialists in Fuinjutsu abilities, amazingly developed chakra coils and long life expectation. By the way, the fact that you are an Uzumaki means that you, and only you, should be able to support Kyuubi's massive chakra, so consider yourself a bit more special just because of that. If you weren't an Uzumaki, I would have never sealed the Kyuubi inside you. When Naruto read this last phrase, he then stopped and collected his thoughts. Wait, my dad sealed the Kyuubi in me? It wasn't the wait, no it can't be. He turned his attention back to the scroll. Yes, I'm the one who sealed you. My name is Namikaze Minato, also known as the Yellow Flash. I am the Yondaime Hokage of Konohigaku no Sato, the one who sealed the Kyuubi inside you. For a moment, Naruto thought his head was going to explode with both answers and question. A lot of questions, that he hoped to find the answers in this scroll. Now you must be wondering why in the world did I seal the Kyuubi within my own son? Well, if it were other person's son, I would never forgive myself for putting such a heavy burden on a baby's shoulders if I wasn't willing to do the same for my own son. It makes sense, right? Naruto couldn't disagree with that. And as my son, I have faith in you. I know that you will, someday, use Kyuubi's powers wisely to become a great shinobi and be a great hero, not only for Konoha, but for the entire world. There are some who are willing to use this power to destroy the world and all that we know and love. But I know better. I know you can use this power to bring an end to the eternal cycle of hatred and bring forward an era of peace, when people will be able to understand each other. I believe in you. And that is why I sealed the Kyuubi inside you. Naruto cried at reading this. His father truly believed him to the point he put the fate of the world on his young shoulders. But the letter wasn't over yet, so he kept reading. Now please pay attention as I leave a few instructions for you to carry out your life better than what you've lived so far. In a little forest close to the northwest borders of Konoha, there should be a small abandoned house I used as training grounds, I hope. Since I won't be alive by the time you read this, I wouldn't know. I left a bed and some money hidden so you could take care of yourself for a while, with a few gifts of my own. I also left many weapons, journals and scrolls with many lessons and jutsus for you to learn. If you're around 4-6 years by the time this letter reaches you, your chakra coils should be ready for you to advance towards your training. So don't waste any more time and start training. Make sure you are at top health, so eat nutritious food and sleep well. Most of my advices are things your mother said to you on her deathbed while I sealed the Kyuubi within you, so take them seriously. Be sure to have lots of friends. I know that you're a Jinchuriki and it might be hard, but the few friends you make will prove to be trusty ones, and they will never let you go. Keep them close to you. By the time you are big enough to be interested in girls, please be careful. I know your mother wants you to find a girl like her, but your mother was a rather aggressive person. What she really meant was for you to find someone who loves you as much as she loved me and I loved her. Someone who is ready to risk her own life for your sake, and make her happy. Oh, there is one more thing. Since you now know your heritage, you might want to be careful to whom you trust your secrets with. I had many enemies while I was alive, and they might be after you if they know you are my son. And you will not be allowed to be Uzumaki's and Namikaze's official heir and clan head unless you either reach 16 or prove yourself to be a shinobi worthy of your titles. By the time this problem reaches you, count with Sandaime-sama's help. My teacher and your godfather, Jiraiya-sensei, might be there to help you too. Yes, you gave a godfather. If he's not there for you, please forgive him. Ever since his friend Orochimaru betrayed Konoha, he's been after him and only returned to Konoha once, and that was to have my blessings as he'd become your godfather. Please be patient with him. He might not be the best ethical example, but he knows the true way of the ninja, so treat him with high regards. Naruto paid attention to all instructions carefully. But he was still going to give his godfather some hell when he returns. He then turned his attention to his father's final words. And finally, be true to yourself and embrace your dreams. Never give up or go back on your word and carry the will of fire. This is the strong will that protects our village every day. No matter how much people hate you for being a Jinchuriki, prove them you're not the Kyuubi, but rather, a true Konoha shinobi, worthy of the legacy your mother and I leave to you. And protect the village I gave my life for. And it doesn't matter if we are dead for a long time. Your mother and I love you and this love will live through you. You are not just the vessel of the Kyuubi. You are a true vessel of love, that is what will save the world when the time comes. Good luck, my son. I believe in you. With my highest regards, your father, the Yondaime Hokage. Naruto burst in tears as he read his father's final words. He made his decision, to carry on his father's wishes and become a true shinobi and savior of the world. After he got better and left the hospital, he immediately started running towards the forest in the northwest border. After a while, he finally reached the house. It was still there, and it seemed like it was left the way it was. Not a single soul touched that place for 4 years. That was a good sign. He then rushed inside and found the bed on the corner of a room. He found the money his father let him, and started counting. Minato left Naruto 250,000 ryo. He was flabbergasted at this amount. This should be enough to buy all the new furniture, make a few repairs on the house and enough groceries for at least 3 or 4 years. But he knew people would treat him rudely and probably overcharge him. They would go as far as accusing him of stealing all that money. He couldn't blame them, though. Then he had an idea. He rushed to the Hokage tower and asked for an audience with the Hokage. The receptionist wanted to kick him out, but she knew what was coming for her, so she let Naruto in. As soon as he entered, Sarutobi rose from his chair and approached Naruto, giving him a hug. He knew Naruto needed one, and he really did. Naruto hugged Hiruzen back, tearing up a bit, but this time, with tears of joy. Hiruzen then sat back on his chair. So, how are you feeling now, Naruto? He asked. Well, truth be told, answered Naruto. I'm still a little shocked. But everything makes sense now, and I feel so much lighter, and happy too. It's all thanks to my father. He really knew that to say, even though he's been dead for all these years, and I finally made my decision. Oh, really? And what is your decision? Asked Hiruzen, who seemed relieved. Naruto then answered, I'm going to use all my power to destroy Konoha. Databao. This made Sarutobi gasp and cough some smoke from his pipe, and about a dozen ANBU shinobis raised their swords and point them at Naruto's face, whom despite the situation, seemed calm and collected. Nah, I'm just kidding, Gigi. I'm gonna carry out the will of fire and protect the village my dad gave his life for at all costs. Man, you should have seen your face. Databao, said Naruto, laughing as everyone dropped a sweat, unable to believe that they'd been fooled by a 4-year-old kid. Hiruzen was happy to see Naruto made a 180-degree turn on his personality. Then the ANBUnins left the room and left Hiruzen and Naruto on their own. Ahem, coughed Hiruzen. So you are set on becoming a great ninja like your father? You bet, Gigi. And I'll make him proud. Soon enough you will see as Uzumaki Naruto make his way to become the next Hokage. Databao, said Naruto. So you started using your mother's clan name. That's a good step, said Hiruzen. So, what can I help you with? You see, Gigi, answered Naruto. I have all this money to spend with furniture, repairing, water, electricity and groceries, but I'm afraid people might take me the wrong way and they won't believe me if I say I inherited the money, so could you help me with that? Pretty please? Well, answered Hiruzen. I can't do it all on my own. I'm a busy old man, as you can see, as he pointed his finger to the massive pile of paperwork, surely the Hokage's worst enemy overall. But I know a few people who are willing to help you. Have you ever heard of the Ino-Shikacho trio? Hiruzen explained how the Ino-Shikacho trio knew of Naruto's condition as a Jinchuriki, and how they were willing to adopt him as a baby. Sarutobi also explained the circumstances that didn't let them be able to help him. Naruto was a little upset for not being adopted, but overall he understood the reasoning behind all of this. But he was happy not only for them to be willing to help him back them, but especially because they still wanted to help him, and how their sons would become his friends. Naruto was sure that his life was taking a huge turn for the better. The following day, Naruto went to the restaurant the Ino-Shikacho trio usually met. He was about to be rudely kicked out of the restaurant, when Chuza appeared behind the restaurant owner and threatened to report his actions to the Hokage. The owner quickly apologized to Naruto, despite the fact he felt humiliated at apologizing to the demon brat. Chuza escorted Naruto to the table and Noichi and Shikaku were sitting and he introduced himself. While they were eating, they discussed about the furniture, house repairing, basic supplies and groceries needed for Naruto to settle in his new house. Naruto ended the day visiting another usual spot of the trio. There, Naruto met Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Chuji and Yamanaka Ino, the sons and daughter of the respective clan heads. They played all afternoon long at the playground while Chuza, Noichi and Shikaku were taking care of things for Naruto. In fact, the Hokage determined this act to be a D-rank mission to be carried out by the trio. Even though they were elite jounin and clan heads, they were more than happy to carry out the mission. When evening came, the trio came back to the playground and picked up their sons. Shikamaru, Chuji and Ino said their goodnight to Naruto. Naruto soon thought to be left alone, when suddenly an ANBUnin came to him and escorted him to Naruto's house. His jaw dropped on the floor when he saw all of the new furniture. He also noticed all the hold fixed, an all-new floor and ceiling, a new room which could be used as a deposit, and a full fridge working. Not only that, there was hot water on the shower, a whole bathroom set and new bedsheets. And on the wall, there was a list of grocery stores, restaurants and furniture shops listed and verified by the Hokage himself to be fully cooperative with Naruto. And there were still 50,000 ryo left on the top of the table, enough for a number of months of groceries and bills. Naruto couldn't help but cry tears of joy again by such generosity. Clearly it was a sign. His father saved his life. He swore to pay back the favor. Don't worry, father. I swear I'll become a great ninja, and I'll be a Hokage greater than even you were. I'm going to protect Konoha with my life. I give you my word, and I never go back on my word. Because this my Nindo. Databao. Chapter 2, The Day Sun and Moon Bumped Each Other. Naruto's new house, the day after the repairing. Uzumaki Naruto couldn't be happier today. First, he woke up in a comfy new bed, big enough for at least 5 or 6 kids his size. Maybe when the time came to reveal his heritage to his friends, he would invite them over to his house and they would play lots of games on top of it. Not those games. You silly perverts, he's 4 years old, for Kami's sake. Then he picked a small recipe magazine, which contained recipes easy enough for children to start working on their cooking skills. His choice for today's breakfast was omelette and pancakes, with the citric fruits vitamin. He was marveled by the amazing taste the food had. Even though he never cooked before in his life, he got the hang of it. But the real reason for such a great reaction to the delicious food was because he never had anything like it before. Before that, his only meals were composed of out-of-date fruits and milk. He wondered how in the world did he manage to survive with such bad feeding habits. Oh right, the Kyuubi may be because of the fact that he was a Jinchuriki. The bijou was responsible for part of the nutrients absorption, and the destruction of some viruses. It made sense, right? If Naruto dies, the Kyuubi dies, so the fox had little choice but to cooperate. Well, that time was over. Now he was going to eat nutritious food and grow a strong body, so he can become a great shinobi and protect Konoha. He finished drinking his vitamin and went to the brand new deposit. Apparently the Inoshikacho trio found the training instruments Minato left for Naruto. They don't know who left it. It was just there, and they thought it would be nice for Naruto to make use of them, and organize them. Naruto saw 5 boxes. One contained around 150 kunais. The second had 400 shurikens. The third had 10 scrolls of instructions regarding ninjutsu training, a scroll explaining the conception and properties of the 12 hand seals, or hand signs, for using various ninja skills, a tag with 100 chakra papers for determining a person's primary nature attribute, scrolls for basic ninja techniques and lessons of chakra molding, and 10 D and C rank Winjutsus, futon. The fourth box had 1,500 tags for Fuinjutsu practicing, and a book containing instructions for basic and advanced Fuinjutsu. It even contained 2 specific seals left by the Uzumaki clan, which seemed the most complicated of them all. And the fifth and final box contained 2 books and 2 scrolls. Naruto tried to open them, but he saw that both books had a lock with a seal attached to it. He picked the Fuinjutsu book to find a match and found out it was a blood seal. He bit his finger to draw some blood and unlocked the books. Naruto opened the first page and widened his eyes as he learned the contents of the book. It was his father's journal. In it, contained reports of a few missions he accomplished, and his impressions. Each and every mission had 1 or 2 lines containing the basic principles of the life of a true shinobi. Naruto picked a pencil and bookmarked these lines, for they would be his principles as well. He opened the second book, which turned out to be a photo album. The first photo was of his father as a child. Alongside him there were 2 other kids and an adult. One had lavender eyes and no pupils, trademark of the Hyuga clan, and the other had his face covered by a trench coat. He was probably from the Aburame clan, the Kikaichi user clan of Konoha. The adult had some sort of whisker drawn from his eyes, and white hair. The photo had a tag in which was written, "Our first day at Team 13. Both my teammates and I graduated at 7, which is surprisingly early for some shinobis. My teammates are Aburame Shibi and Hyuga Hayashi. My sensei is the one and only Jiraiya-sama, one of Sandame's 3 amazing students. I hope to learn a lot of things from him and fulfill my dream of becoming a Hokage." Naruto looked at the photo. One could say he was the spitting image of his father, save for the whiskers in Naruto's cheeks. The sun-kissed blonde hair and the deep-sea blue eyes were the same. He looked at Jiraiya. "So this is my godfather. He seems really strong and wise though him." Naruto kept skimming through the photo album until he found one photo in particular that froze him and made tears drop from his eyes. It was a photo of Minato, already an adult, with his blue jounin shirt, alongside a gorgeous woman with long, beautiful crimson-red hair, and an even prettier smile. Naruto could already tell by this woman's smile that she was Minato's wife, his mother Kushina. The tag below had it written, "It's confirmed for October 10th. I'm so happy I'm becoming a father. Kushina came here saying we are gonna be parents. Tebane, and I almost dropped the oven I was mixing the cake with. Yesterday I read this amazing book called Tales of a Brave Ninja, which was written by Jiraiya-sensei. The hero never seemed to give up. I asked Sensei if the hero's name could be the name of our son to inherit his braveness. That, of course, made Jiraiya-sensei my boy's godfather. My son will be called Naruto." Naruto cried even more as he finished reading the tag. Until a few days ago he never knew the meaning of love and care, and now he had been filled with so much of it that though his heart was about to explode. The fact that his parents sacrificed their own lives not only for his sake, but for Konoha as well. The fact that there were those willing to adopt him, despite him being a Jinchuriki, willing to go as far as making their sons befriend him. He would never be able to repay such love, but he would honor his parents' legacy to make up for their sacrifice. He decided to start training immediately. Naruto set a number of dummy dolls, painted target marks on them and started practicing shuriken and kunai throwing all morning long. He laid down on the floor, tired of all that training. A few minutes passed and his stomach growled. He went to the mural on his house to check the list of restaurants what would not kick him out. He decided to go to the Ichiraku ramen stand. He remembered that one of his father's photographs showed Minato and Kushina in the front of that stand, with a tag written, Ichiraku ramen. Kushina's all-time favorite. Naruto arrived at the ramen stand and asked for a large bowl of miso ramen. Itachi, the owner, looked at Naruto and saw the resemblance between him and Minato. "Are you Naruto?" he asked. "Yes, I am Asen," answered Naruto. "But how do you know me?" Itachi looked around to make sure the stand was empty, and no one outside would hear them. "Truth be told, you look just like your father, that's why I knew it was you." "You knew my father?" asked Naruto, with his eyes widened. "Yes, his mother would drag him here almost every day. She was my favorite customer, and she set the record for bowls eaten in one single meal," said Itachi, giggling a little. Naruto also giggled at hearing that his mother ate so much. "Well then, I'm going to do my best to break the record." Databeo. Naruto then picked the bowl and ate it right away. "Keep them coming." I am, Itachi's daughter, looked at him with her jaw dropped. "Father, I think he might actually break the record." "Well then, let's not keep him waiting." "I am, today we work," said Itachi, tying his sleeves and getting ready for some serious work. At the end of the meal, Naruto had eaten 14 large bowls of ramen and couldn't take it anymore. "Phew, I'm full," said him, tapping his belly. "So how did I go?" "Sorry kid," said Itachi. "You still have a long way to go. Your mother's record is 24 bowls of ramen." "What way yet?" asked Naruto loudly, drawing the attention from some people outside. "Damn well, I'm going to work hard to break my mom's record. You just wait and see." Databeo. Naruto paid for the meal and ran towards his house. He would start another practicing session. As Naruto arrived at his house, he picked the box with scrolls of ninjutsu learning. He started with the chakra molding exercise. He saw that people with large chakra reserves tend to have poor chakra control skills. He sat on the grass and started concentrating. He picked a few of the basic exercises, such as creating bunshins. It didn't work so well, so he started searching the scrolls for something that would better suit him. He stumbled upon the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He was impressed by how versatile this technique was. First, it created a physical copy instead of an illusion, making it useful for combat. It dispersed chakra amongst the clones, which helped with the chakra molding exercises. But most importantly, whatever the Kage Bunshin learned, the knowledge was absorbed as the clone dispersed, making it useful for just about every single act of spying and training that a ninja faced in his life. He decided to concentrate as much chakra as possible to use the Kage Bunshin to jutsu. He was able to create 2 clones for now. He and the clones picked a few scrolls and read them. By the middle of the afternoon, he dispersed the clones and the knowledge was downloaded instantly. He felt a little dizzy after that. He learned the bad way that the exhaustion was also absorbed. He thought about resting a bit, but he decided to run to the playground, hoping to find his friends Shikamaru, Chuji and Ino. When he got to the playground, he didn't find them. Instead, he found a kid with raven-colored hair alone sitting on the swing. Naruto approached the kid. "Hi, are you playing here all alone?" he asked. The other kid looked at Naruto and answered. "Actually, I'm just waiting for my Anai-san. But if you want to play, we can play tag if you'd like." "Sure," said Naruto. He tapped the kid's shoulder. "You're it," said him, running. "Hey, that wasn't fair," said the boy, running after Naruto. "Deception is a ninja weapon. You do well to remember that," said Naruto, laughing. The kid laughed back as he ran after Naruto. They kept running and laughing all afternoon long. They sat on the swings as they watched the sun set. The Raven Kid looked at the Sun Kid with whiskers in his face. "Hey," said him. "What's your name?" Naruto raised his eyebrows and put a hand behind his head. "Oh right, we don't even know each other's name, right? Nice to meet you. I'm Uzumaki Naruto." "And you?" said him, with a smile on his face. The kid smiled back as he answered. "Uchiha Sasuke. Nice to meet you too." Suddenly, a tall teenager approached the playground. "Sasuke, it's time to go. Father is waiting for us," he said. "Well," said Sasuke. "I think it's time to go. I hope to see you again, Naruto." "Bye. See you around, Sasuke," answered Naruto, happy for making a new friend. He saw as Sasuke and his older brother walked through the street. Naruto was about to walk back towards his house when he looked at the left corner and recognized the Kimichi Chuza a few meters away. He rushed to his direction. "Chuza-san," shouted Naruto. He wanted to thank him, Inoichi and Shikaku, for helping him yesterday. Chusa looked the source of the calling and saw Naruto. "Oh, there you are, boy. I was looking for you, you know," said him. "Really?" "Me too," said Naruto. "I wanted to thank you, Inoichi-san and Shikaku-san, from the bottom of my heart for helping me yesterday. It really meant a lot to me and I hope to repay the favor someday." "Think nothing of it, kid," said Chusa. "Say what?" "I'm going to meet Shikaku and Inoichi at dinner tonight for old time's sake. The children will be there too. Do you want to come?" "Really?" "I'd love to," said Naruto, with his eyes shining. He was really happy to have a chance to meet his friends and the other two who helped him. He followed Chusa to the Ino Shikacho's usual dinner spot. Naruto greeted the other two members of the trio and thanked them too. Inoichi and Shikaku only replied that it was nothing and that Naruto could always count on them if he needed anything. Naruto then sat on the other table where the kids were gathered. He greeted everyone. "So I went to the playground today and you guys weren't there." "Yeah, I know," said Chuji. "Dad took me to the compound gardens. The butterflies were leaving their cocoons today, and I didn't want to miss it." "Wow, that sure was a beautiful sight," said Ino. "Today Daddy took me to the flower store. I had to study a few of them, because I'm going to inherit the store someday." "You guys sure have nice things to do," said Shikamaru. "Today my dad taught me how to play shogi. This game is such a drag, it requires strategy, cleverness, and I'm just too lazy for these troublesome things. I prefer to watch the clouds." "So, you were all busy today." "Well, I did train a bit before going to the playground," said Naruto. "And you just stayed there alone all this time?" asked Ino. "Actually no," answered Naruto. "I met a boy there. He was alone. I asked him if he wanted to play, and we played all afternoon long. Not many kids go there to play by their own." "Who was him?" asked Chuji. "Before we left, he introduced himself to me." "His name is Uchiha Sasuke," said Naruto. The three kids opened their mouths surprised by hearing this name. "Wait a minute," said Shikamaru. "You mean the Uchiha Sasuke? From the Uchiha clan? What's the problem?" "Is there something about the Uchiha clan?" asked Naruto. "My father said," answered Shikamaru, "that the Uchiha clan was responsible, along with the Shodame Senju clan, for creating Konoha, and the Naidame built the police force for the Uchiha clan. They are probably the noblest of Konoha's clans. They have a bad blood with the Hyugas, and they are not that much befriended anymore with the Senju clan. They are really strong, natural fire users, and they have a very powerful Kekkai Gekkai. But they are too proud of themselves because of it." "Kekkai Gekkai?" asked the curious Ino. "Bloodline limit. Basically, they have a special power or jutsu that only the Uchiha clan can use," answered Chuji. "Dad once told me that the reason behind the bad blood between Hyugas and Uchihas have something to do with their respective Kekkai Gekkai." "And what are their bloodline limits?" asked Naruto. "I don't know exactly," said Chuji. "I just know this much about these clans." "Maybe you know a bit more than me, Shikamaru?" "Actually no," said Shikamaru. "I figured it would be too troublesome to look into these matters. It's not like we belong to either clans anyway." "Yeah, you're right," said Naruto. "But still," said Ino, "if there's an Uchiha who's not full of himself like the others, maybe we could all befriend him, right?" "I don't know for sure," answered Shikamaru, "but it's worth a try. Let's hang out at the playground a bit more often, maybe we can meet him. I'm sure we can all be friends," said Naruto. "And I am also looking for training partners. He looks pretty strong to me." "Training?" asked Chuji. "We're only 4 years old. Don't you think you're rushing too much?" "Well, if I don't, how am I supposed to become Hokage?" answered Naruto. Everyone looked at him in silence. Shikamaru smiled. "Hokage, eh? You've already set this as your goal?" "Troublesome kid," said him. "Still, if you become too much stronger than us, that would be troublesome. I might be too lazy, but I'm not falling behind." "I have to agree with Shikamaru," said Chuji. "If you become too strong, your life will be kinda dull, and we wouldn't have fun. Besides, the Akimichi clan needs food to become stronger, so I might as well live a happy life eating everything I can as I become a strong shinobi." He giggled. "I was wondering where the words food and eating would come out," said Ino, giggling too. "But you two are right. If Naruto gets ahead of us, life will be dull, and I don't want that. Besides, Konoha needs all the help they can get. You guys can count me in for your training." The 4 kids brought their hands together. "All right," said Naruto. "Tomorrow you guys can go to my house and we'll have breakfast there. After the breakfast we start our training." "Okay," said the other 3, nodding their heads. The Ino Shikacho trio paid attention to the kids' conversation. "Troublesome kids," said Shikaku. "They might surpass us if we're not smart." "Then we better make sure we stay sharp," said Chusa. "I'm looking forward to their teenage years, when they become genin. They will become excellent ninjas." "I'm happy we decided to help Naruto," said Inoichi. "I can already see the will of fire burning strong within him. And he's already influencing our kids to work hard for the sake of Konoha." Yandane was right after all. The people should see him as the hero he truly is. "People will see that in time, Inoichi," said Shikaku. "The best we can do is help them out, and hope that their hard work will open the villagers' hearts." "You're right," said Chusa. "For now, we celebrate the rising of Konoha's new heroes. Cheers!" They cheered and drank their drinks. After everyone parted ways, an ANBU nin appeared and escorted Naruto home. As they were walking, Naruto noticed something familiar about him. Aren't you the same ANBU nin from yesterday, Inu-san? Did Gigi ask you to take care of me? Asked Naruto. Very clever, Naruto. Yes, Hokage-sama asked me to look after you so you don't get into trouble. He told me the truth about you and he trusted me with the task of protecting you. You don't have to worry about me, Inu-san. I'm going to train hard and become Hokage, just like my father. Speaking of which, did you know him? As a matter of fact, I did, said Inu. He was my sensei a long time ago. Sensei? Asked Naruto. So you must be what was his name, Hatake Kakashi? Kakashi looked around to make sure no one was around and removed his ANBU mask. His face was covered with another mask, and he had high gray hair. His Hitachi covered his left eye. Probably a scar or something of the sort. Yes, I am, said him. Naruto looked at him and said, Kakashi-san, I was wondering, yes? What's the point of the ANBU mask? Kakashi looked at him, took a deep breath and answered, ANBU is an assassin squadron. Our main purpose is to perform the most difficult tasks there is for the sake of Konoha, and since the majority of these tasks involve important assassinations, we must remain unknown. Even our body disposal method demands us to either erase the enemy's body, or even our own. We have a motto that says, no traces left behind. We are also responsible for being the Hokage's personal bodyguards. It is our duty to be the strongest ninjas of Konoha, second only to the Hokage. And maybe the Sannin, because they were, in fact, Sandaime-sama's students. Sannin? Oh, you mean my godfather and his teammates. They were Gigi's students? Wow, I didn't know Gigi was that strong, said Naruto. He is indeed, said Kakashi. He is the strongest shinobi in Konoha. If you want to be the next Hokage, you must become stronger than him. Not only is he strong, but he's also experienced. He faced 2 great ninja wars and he knows more than 1,000 jutsus. People regard him as both the professor and the god of shinobi. He is also a wise, honorable and fair leader. Every citizen and ninja in Konoha looks up to him in high regard. Naruto could only look at Kakashi praising the Sandaime, with his jaw about to hit the floor. He was impressed at how much strong Sarutobi was, despite his calm appearance. Well, deception is indeed a strong weapon, thought him. I have a question, Kakashi-san, said Naruto. Could you tell me more about my dad and my godfather? Well, said Kakashi, with a hand behind his head, I'd love to, but we are almost getting you home. And it's late. Maybe another time, okay? Yeah, sure, said Naruto, a bit down. They walked a few more minutes in silence, until Naruto arrived home. He bid Kakashi goodnight, as he saw the already masked ninja put his other mask on, the ANBU one, and shunshin his way out of the grounds. Naruto then took a shower, put on his sleeping clothes and laid down on his large bed, as he drifted his mind reminiscing the great things that happened today. Training hard, meeting his friends, making a new one, having dinner with respectable people and friendly conversations all night long. He thought about the next day. Save for Sasuke, his friends would come to his house to have breakfast and train with him. Oh crap. I forgot to tell them where I live, he thought. Oh wait, that's right. Their parents know where I live. Phew. For a moment I thought I'd be in trouble for my training tomorrow. Naruto drifted a little bit until he remembered his new friend Sasuke. I wonder if he's strong. He is from the renowned Uchiha clan, so he must be pretty skillful. I wonder if he'd train with me and the others, he thought. After a few minutes, he finally slept, with a smile on his face. Tomorrow promised to be another wonderful day. The following morning, Naruto woke up still a bit sleepy. Maybe I should take seriously Mom's advices and sleep a little earlier, he thought. He took the morning shower, brushed his teeth and put on his clothes. Then he went to the deposit to start mounting the training devices. It took a little bit over 30 minutes until everything was ready. He explored a bit of the surrounding grounds of his house and discovered a small hill with a wonderful view for both the Hokage monument and a large part of the village. Oh great, I could build a small observation tower here for safety purposes in the future, though. For now, he focused his view below to see if the second generation of the Ino Shikacho was coming. He saw Ino and Chuji waiting in the front of a compound. They seemed to be waiting there for nearly an hour. They're probably waiting for Shikamaru. He did say something about being too lazy for these things, he thought, giggling at his thoughts. As soon as he saw Shikamaru leaving his clan's compound, he rushed to his kitchen to prepare breakfast. If I'm to make breakfast to 4 people, they'll be here before breakfast is ready, he thought. And I haven't even cleaned the house yet. It's my 3rd day here and I already have work for 3 people. 3 people? That's it. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He was able to create a 3rd clone, 1 more than yesterday. Those chakra molding exercises are paying off indeed, he thought. Okay, clones. One of you will help me make breakfast for my upcoming friends. The other 2 will clean the house, said the original. Okay, said the 3 clones in unison, as they started working. Around 15 minutes later, the breakfast was almost ready and the house was clean. Naruto heard the door knock. I got it, said one of the clones, as he opened the door. Shikamaru was about to greet the clone when he saw the other clones walking around the house. What, do you can already use Kage Bunshin? Said him. Yup, answered the original Naruto, who was leaving the kitchen and putting the breakfast on the table. This is a Birank Jounin Jutsu. How in the world do you have enough chakra to create a clone, let alone 3? Asked Ino, clearly surprised. That's incredible. Wow, you think so? Said a blushed Naruto, with a hand behind the head. Of course it's incredible, said Chuji. We're 4 years old. Our chakra reserves are not large enough even for a normal bunshin, let alone a Kage bunshin. Yes, said Ino. You must have a bloodline or something like that if you're this far ahead of us already, Naruto. Naruto could only blush to these comments. He had no idea how advanced he really was for someone of his age. He knew his Uzumaki bloodline made him have large chakra reserves, but he wasn't aware of his true potential until someone else pointed it out. Suddenly, everyone's stomach growled. Well, let's have our breakfast, shall we? He said. We won't be doing anything if we just stay here talking. Databeo. You're right. Let's eat, said Chuji. Didn't you already eat a lot this morning, Chuji? Asked Shikamaru. Well, yeah, but I'm still a bit hungry. Yeah, me too, said Ino. Well, we are gonna train, so I might as well eat a lot. Someone my age doesn't need to keep up a diet just yet. Everyone's sweat dropped at hearing this statement. Thanks to Kami, Chuji didn't eat too much, so Naruto didn't need to go back to the kitchen to make another meal. After that, everyone went to the training grounds. The dummies were already set, so everyone practiced weapon throwing for about a full hour. Then Naruto stacked a few kunais on the ground to improvise a circle ring for taijutsu sparring. Shikamaru had the idea of asking his father for a bit of crayon to mark the ground the following day, so the kunais wouldn't rust. Everyone approved the idea. As the original Naruto was sparring with his friends, the 3 clones were at the deposit, checking for scrolls with more chakra molding exercises. One of the clones remembered that in the 5th box, alongside the 2 books, there were 2 scrolls. He picked one and opened it. It seemed to be a storage scroll. He looked at the Fuinjutsu book to find a match. Unfortunately, since the chakra was dispersed among the other clones, it would have to wait the ending of the training session to unseal it. The clone dispersed itself to pass on its knowledge to the original. Naruto still felt dizziness for every Kage Bunshin dispersed, but he was still able to keep on the taijutsu training with his friends. So far, everyone seemed to grasp the very basics, which was impressive for the first day of joint training. Ino and Chuji were lagging a bit, because of their own particular statures. Shikamaru got the hang of it, but he thought it would be too troublesome to strain himself much longer. Naruto was really tired, because of the accumulative exhaustion of the Kage Bunshins, but both his body and his brain were improving in an amazing pace. Phew, that was great, said Chuji, panting heavily, laid down on the grass, like everybody else. I thought it would be overwhelming, considering our young age, but I had a lot of fun. I think I'm gonna get used to this sort of thing. I have to agree with you there, Chuji, said Ino. Maybe we are one lucky generation. Just think, to be able to be this advanced, this early in life? We might be true geniuses. Well, one thing is for certain, said Shikamaru. Since I'm too lazy for these things, the academy will be even more boring and troublesome for us if we keep up like this. Everyone laughed at hearing this. I'm not dead certain about what you said, Shikamaru, said Naruto. If Ino is right, our generation is amazing and our colleagues will also be talented and strong. Academy might not be so boring, after all. Speaking of which, when do you intend to enter it? I'm not sure, said Ino. If we keep this rhythm, we might be able to make it as soon as next year, if we are lucky. Next year? Asked Chuji. That's too soon. Maybe we should just wait until we are 8, like everyone else. Why wait so much? Asked Naruto. We can at least wait until we are 6. If we keep up the hard work, we can become genin at 7, just like he was about to say my dad. But he remembered to keep quiet about this until the time was right. Just like who, Naruto? Asked Ino. Well, never mind. Maybe Chuji is right, we should wait until we are 8. We have to enjoy our childhood, right? Enjoy our childhood while training earlier than everybody else? Asked Shikamaru. Everyone stayed in silence for a bit, thinking about it. Well, that's one way to put it, said Naruto. If our training sessions are to be as fun as today's, and if we can gather more people, it will be our particular activity for playtime. While lazy brats play in the playground, we train hard, and still get some laughs while we're at it. Hey, I play on the playground, you know, said a slightly upset Shikamaru. That's because you are lazy. Databeo. Everyone laughed loudly at hearing this. Even Shikamaru raised a smile. Well, how about we have something for lunch? I'm starving, said Chuji. I was going to complain that you're always starving, but I'm hungry too, said Ino, getting up from the grass. Well, my old man hit an old deer yesterday, said Shikamaru. The Nara clan was famous for having a forest full of deers that they raised. Although we don't like doing that to our clan's animals, he thought it would be too troublesome to not make advantage of the antlers and meat. He said we could all go there after training. Then let's not waste any longer, said Naruto. We're off. Databeo. As they had lunch in the Nara compound, Naruto and the other discussed their plans for the next training session. Shikamaru reminded his father of the crayon for the circle ring and gave a sack to Naruto right away. He figured it would be too troublesome to waste time the following day painting the ground if Naruto could do it in this very afternoon. Naruto asked if they knew anyone besides Sasuke who would be happy to be part of the training team. Chuji mentioned a boy of the Inuzuka clan named Kiba, whom he and Shikamaru hanged out with from time to time. Apparently the next month he was going to receive his dog companion to mark him as a potential heir of the clan. Maybe they could talk to him at the right time. Ino couldn't think of anyone. Shikamaru said Kiba used to hang out with a kid who wore trench coat all the time, but he was too lazy to memorize the name. Naruto assumed he was from the Aburame clan. After the lunch, Naruto parted ways with everyone and rushed back to his house. He received a few glares from some citizens on the way, but he didn't care. He knew it was not their fault. When he arrived home, Naruto immediately started working on the crayon sack he received and painted a perfectly round circle ring for the taijutsu training. He then remembered about a memory he received from a Kage Bunshin from before. He checked the box with his father's books and saw the storage scroll. He performed the sand signs to unseal the scroll. A puff of cud was formed and dispersed, revealing an old box. Great, more boxes, he thought. He opened the box to see the contents. He nearly fainted. Inside there was his father's legendary cloak. It was a large white cloak with red fire drawings on the bottom and the kanjis that formed the name Yondaime Hokage engraved in the same red color. But that was not the only content in the box. Naruto noticed there were a few more clothes there, along with another cloak. But they were all way smaller. The clothes were fit for 8, maybe 9-year-old child. It was a weak orange shirt, not the kill me orange Naruto usually wears, a black pair of pants, and a white cloak that looked exactly like Minato's, but without the engraving and the fire pattern. Naruto checked the clothes with amazement. This either belonged to my dad, or then Naruto had a mini heart attack. No, it couldn't be made for me. I mean, if mom and dad bought this for me, you'd think they'd leave a note. Turns out there was a note inside a pocket of the cloak. Naruto picked the note and read it. My dear Naruto, I bought these clothes while I was pregnant of you. I had this strong desire to buy them, even though it would take years for you to actually wear them. Minato didn't try to question a pregnant woman's desire, so he just had to go through with it. He said that he would use a storage seal to preserve the clothes so they aren't damaged by time and clothes moth. I want you to look gorgeous when you start your academy years. If you happen to be good with Fuinjutsu like we both were and find these clothes before you can actually use them, you can rewrite the seal and use the hand signs boar, dragon, horse and ram to put the clothes back into the scroll. If you're not well, you can either ask for someone to do it for you or keep them as safe as you can. Any bigger issues you can go to the Teiro fabric store, that's where I bought them. You like my tailor impression readers? If you are interested in what they got, I'm sure the owner Renoki can provide something for you. Your orange shirt is a little joke from your father and I. Since he is the yellow Flash and I'm the red hot-blooded habanero, the result of the mix would be our orange baby. The black pants make a good mix with both your orange shirt and the white cloak. Since it's just plain white, you can engrave something of your liking, or just paint the cloak with any color you feel yourself comfortable with. But I do want you to acknowledge that these clothes are a gift from me to you, from the bottom of my heart. And always remember, I love you, you mother, Uzumaki Kushina, the red hot-blooded habanero. Naruto couldn't help but cry again for joy as he finished reading the letter his mother left him. Don't worry, Emo Naruto will be gone by the end of this chapter. He thanked her for the clothes and remade the seal. He would make his own customization of the clothes the week before the first day of class at the academy. For now he wanted to spend the next 2 hours reading as much as he could. He created 3 Kage Bunshins to absorb as much knowledge as he could. The original picked the Fuinjutsu book and the tags for practicing. One clone picked the scroll regarding properties of hand signs. The second clone picked the scroll with chakra molding exercises. For someone with gigantic chakra reserves like Naruto, chakra molding exercise is never enough. The third picked a chakra paper and canalized chakra to see which was Naruto's primary element. The paper was torn in 2, which determined that Naruto's primary chakra attribute was wind. Excellent for close quarters combat, chakra-based weaponry and easy to learn, although pretty hard to dominate, and even harder to come up with an original jutsu. The clone that torn the paper picked a scroll with the lessons of nature manipulation and started practicing. In about 1 hour, Naruto dispersed the Kage Bunshins and absorbed all the knowledge they gained. He fell on the grass exhausted. Thank Kami I actually had the good sense of studying for 1 hour, instead of 2 as I originally planned, he thought. Or I'd probably not make it through the afternoon. He slept for about an hour and a half. When he woke up, he looked at the position of the sun and gasped, "Oh, no! Sasuke might have left the playground already. I have to hurry," he said. He then beat off the dirt in his clothes and ran as fast as he could towards the playground. When he was about to hit a corner, he bumped with someone who also seemed in a hurry. "OF," both people shouted, as they fell on the floor. "Ouch," said Naruto. "I'm so sorry, I swear to Kami it was an accident. I didn't mean to," as he raised his head and opened his eyes to look to the person he bumped into. He could barely finish his sentence. "Bump into you." The person he bumped into was a little girl, about his size, maybe a bit smaller, around the same age. She had short hair. He couldn't tell if the hair was black or blue. If you looked it on the side, you could swear the hair was black. But if you paid enough attention, the hair was actually blue-colored. The shade of blue was dark, almost night sky-like blue. The little girl's hair reflected the light of sun in a very crystal white light, which seemed like that, instead of sunlight, it was actually moonlight. It was the most beautiful hair Naruto has ever seen in his life, even being so short for a girl. And the girl itself was also very cute. He actually blushed his cheeks as he first laid eyes on her. She had a very smooth-looking white skin, and beautiful lavender eyes, trademark of the Hyuga clan, but her eyes seemed gentle and delicate, instead of the usual stiff and aggressive eyes of most Hyugas. Naruto couldn't stop looking at the girl, until she actually looked at him in the eyes. He then blushed a light shade of red on his cheeks and looked down on the floor. The girl too was admired by the looks of the boy she just bumped into. She was running at a blinding speed and didn't notice him. Apparently he didn't notice her either, but as she raised her head to apologize, she was stunned at the sight. She never saw a boy with blonde hair and blue eyes before. These traits were incredibly rare in Konoha. His hair was marvelous. It was a bright blonde hair, almost as if the hair was blessed and kissed by the sun itself, and his cerulean eyes seemed to carry both hate and love inside them. Those were beautiful eyes. The boy's face was very pretty, and she thought that the whiskers were actually pretty cute. They gave the boy a certain wild aspect, although his face seemed pretty pure and innocent. She also blushed a bit the first time she saw him, and as they looked each other in the eyes, she also blushed a shade of red on the cheeks and looked down on the floor. Hers was redder though. Naruto quickly raised from the floor and offered his hand to the girl, who was still on the ground. I am so sorry for bumping into you. Are you okay? He asked, still blushing and stuttering. He was asking himself what was that feeling. He never felt this nervous around a girl before. The girl seemed even redder and more nervous than him. Why yes, I am okay, I think you don't worry. I'm the one who's sorry, she said. She picked his hand, although very nervous to do so, and raised from the floor. Naruto tried to break the ice. Ano, well, you see I was heading for the playground and I was running so fast that I didn't see you. So Ano, I'm so sorry for that, okay, he said, still stuttering a bit. The girl felt a little more relaxed and answered, no, it's fine. Really I was also, Ano, running. And I wasn't paying any attention, so I am sorry as well, don't worry, it's alright now, said Naruto, more relaxed now. Do you need any help? Maybe a place to rest, you look a bit tired. The girl was surprised to receive this sort of concern from a stranger she never met before. Maybe he didn't know about her family, but she decided to accept the boy's help. Of course, thank you for your kindness, said the girl, a bit more relaxed. Where could we go? Asked her. I was supposed to meet someone at the playground, said Naruto. The girl put her hands over her mouth and gasped. She was on the verge of crying. Oh dear Kami, I'm in your way. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Nah, that's okay. He must have been long gone anyway, said Naruto. You see, I was already so late, I should have been there for at least more than an hour ago. But hey, I don't want to go there all alone, and I also don't want to leave you here on your own. So I suggest we go to the playground together. What do you say? The girl lowered her head, a little blushed because of the invitation, but she couldn't find a way to refuse his invitation, so she just nodded her head in agreement, and they both went to the playground. When they arrived there, Naruto's presumption was right. The playground was empty. He was a little let down, but at least he wasn't all alone. The two kids sat on the swing and Naruto noticed the girl was a little down in her spirits. So said a nervous Naruto. Gee, I was going to start a conversation, but I don't even know your name well. Let me introduce myself. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. The girl felt a little embarrassed for forgetting to introduce herself. She feared for a moment that her etiquette classes were all for naught, and was desperate to apologize to him. But she recomposed herself and did the best she could to answer Naruto with a smile in her face. My name is Hyuga Hinata. It's an honor to meet you, Naruto-san. No need to be polite, Hinata, said Naruto. I'm really not into these formalities. Just Naruto is good enough. Databeo. His smile was so beautiful Hinata lost herself in it, smiling back. Hinata? Asked the curious Naruto, trying to understand why this cute girl couldn't stop looking at him. He actually blushed a bit when he thought of that. Hello, Earth to Hinata, can you hear me? Hinata came back to her senses and gasped. She put her hands over her mouth and blushed a dark red. Oh, I am sorry, I was just a bit distracted, that's all, said her. I understand, said Naruto. You must have a lot on your mind. But as I was saying, no need to be so polite. You can just call me Naruto, okay? Okay then, Naruto-kun, said her, with her head low, she'll a bit blushed. I guess the Hyuga clan is really picky on her if she's so used to being polite, thought him. But this shy attitude of hers is actually pretty cute. Wait, what am I thinking? At this moment, Naruto looked away and blushed a light red from his cheeks. Say, Hinata, said a slightly embarrassed Naruto, trying to chill out again. I was running to the playground because I was supposed to find a friend here. But I was so late he must have gone away way before we bumped each other. But why were you running so hastily? His question hit her in a hard place. But this boy in front of her seemed to be too much of a nice person to judge her, she thought. So she took a deep breath and started talking. I just found out today that my mother is pregnant. I'm going to have a little sister. Naruto was surprised at hearing this. Wow, a little sister? That sounds incredible. Just think. You two would play and laugh and even train together. I wish I could be this lucky to have a little sister. Like before he finished, he noticed she started crying. Hinata? What's wrong? Are you sad? I'm sorry for you to be seeing this, Naruto-kun, but as much as it pains me to say this, I don't want to have a little sister. Naruto was shocked at hearing this. But why? Aren't you supposed to love your siblings? Sure, I don't know what it's like, but it can't be all that bad, right? Asked him, with concern in his eyes. Hinata took another deep breath and contained herself from crying more. She knew she could trust him, so she resumed the conversation. Yes, Naruto-kun, I love my little sister, but the problem is with the Hyuga clan. You see, we have two houses in the family, the main house and the branch house. Main house and branch house? Do they have particular differences between each other? Asked him. Yes, answered Hinata. The main house is composed of the direct descendants of the clan founders, and we have many privileges compared to the branch house. I'm part of the main house as well, since my father is the clan head. Wow, that's incredible, said a surprised Naruto. He never would have guessed Hinata's position was so privileged. But the branch family, said Hinata, is one of the reasons behind the problem I have accepting my little sister. Why is that? Asked Naruto. Because of our bloodline limit, answered Hinata. The Hyugas are known for their powerful bloodline limit. Many villages and countries were willing to do anything to get their hands on the Hyuga's special abilities. And that is the reason the branch house exists. What do you mean? Asked him. You see, said her. To protect the secret abilities of the Hyuga clan, the original elders created a Juin Jutsu, cursing seal technique, known as the caged bird seal. If a Hyuga with this seal were to be killed, the bloodline would be sealed forever, and the enemies could never discover its secrets. I see what you're getting at, Hinata, said Naruto, a bit sad. The branch house is composed of the ones who have this useful, but at the same time, disgusting seal. Am I right? Yes, you are right, but that's not even the worst part, said her. There's more, thought a surprised Naruto. The seal was created to ensure the branch house would never rebel against the main house. First, because only the members of the main house know how to create and activate the seal. And second, Hinata looked down on the floor and let a few tears drop from her eyes. Naruto didn't like where this was ending. Hinata raised her head and continued, because when a member of the main house uses it, the seal on the member of the branch house causes extreme pain, to the point where he could even be killed. The seal is, as I said before, the absolute weapon of discipline and order in the two houses. Naruto was horrified and with his fist ferociously closed, to the point it split a few drops of blood. This seal was horrible in its very conception, and he couldn't forgive such dreadful act of disgust. And this is why I don't know what to do. I work very hard to please my father and prove I can be the clan heiress. But I fear for my sister's fate. And truth be told, I'm not that much talented. I work hard, but my skills are lower than they should be. If my sister turns out to be more talented than me, then she will be the heiress. And the elders will put the seal in me and I will become a member of the branch house. Naruto could see the deep sadness inside Hinata's lavender eyes. But can't you do anything to avoid this seal? Asked him. Well, said her. Even if I proved myself to be strong and asked for delaying by the time I turned 16, I'd be forced to either become the official heiress or be submitted to the caged bird seal. My only choice is to buy as much time as I can, said her, as she started crying again. Naruto wasn't sure of what he could say to cheer her up. He wanted to help her, but that would bring troubles for her upcoming sister. But if he didn't do anything, Hinata could be the one destined to be sealed. He took a few minutes to think, and he asked, is there any chance whatsoever for both of you to avoid the seal? Hinata couldn't believe of what he asked. He would be willing to help her this much? She didn't even know what to think of all of this, but she wanted to see how far would he be willing to go. Well, I can think of two ways, said her. One is that if somehow the elders can make an oath to grant immunity for one of us, as the other is chosen as heiress. That could work, but that would be almost impossible. The second situation would be the most common one, and what would that be? Asked Naruto. Hinata then blushed a crimson red and looked down on the floor. So what is it? Asked Naruto again. He wondered what made her blush this much. Was she having a fever or something? I'd, said her, with a very low voice. What? Marriage. That would be the second choice, said her, blushing even more. What? No way. You mean really? Asked him. He also blushed a bit at hearing this. Yes, answered Hinata. If either me or my little sister were to be betrothed to another clan, either of us would gain guarantee of the seal without the elders requiring to an oath, since we would no longer be part of the clan. Hinata's face had a shade of red which was unheard of. She liked how Naruto was willing to help her, but she thought he would never be willing to go as far as marrying her or her sister. Until he answered, okay, I'll take a chance. What? She asked. That's right, you heard me. When I become Hokage, I will change the Hyugas. Databao. For a moment he lost his mind, but the flare and passion in his eyes proved her wrong. He was dead serious. For her sake, he would work hard to become Hokage just to help her and her family. And if I can't change the Hyugas, I'll make those nasty elders of your clan eat a dozen oaths for breakfast, lunch and dinner to save you. And if even that is not enough at this moment, Hinata thought, if he suggests that we marry each other, I don't think I'll take it. If nothing else works, then I'll marry you. Databao, said a cheerful Naruto. Hinata looked at him like he was an angel sent from heaven, willing to do everything to help her. However, her dreamy image would last for a short time, since she fainted and fell off the swing. Hinata? Hinata! Oh dear Kami, don't die on me! Hinata! Yelled the desperate Naruto. He wasn't aware of his actions. He just betrothed himself to her. Well, in a way. But he still promised to marry her. Hinata had passed out, but she had an ear-to-ear smile on her face. Naruto was a bit too worried about her to notice the smile, though. A few minutes later, Hinata was conscious again. For some reason, the ground feels soft, she thought. For some reason, it reminds me of my mother when she put my head on her lap to rest. It felt so comfortable. Wait, it does feel comfortable right now. Am I sleeping on someone's lap? Last I remember, I was with. She then opened her eyes, and to her surprise, she saw Naruto's face upside down. Naruto-kun? She then realized she was sleeping on his lap. She let out a little scream and rose up. She then leaned her head down, blushing a red redder than the sunset. Naruto kept admiring while taking care of her. She was so ashamed it took forever for her to build courage and look at him. Naruto looked at her, with a slight blush on his cheeks. He never did anything like that with a girl before. He gave her a small, but truly blissful smile and asked her, still a bit embarrassed, "Are you alright now, Hinata?" "I was worried about you." Hinata was stunned at the sight. The boy who promised to change the Hyugas, willing to go as far as marrying her, had his face kissed by the sunset's rays. His hair had a slight shade of orange mixed with his golden blonde natural color. It was the most beautiful hair she's ever seen. She couldn't stop blushing, but she finally gathered the courage to talk to him. "Naruto-kun." "Yes, Hinata? Why are you willing to go so far for me? We've only met each other and I'm not that strong, and you don't even know if my clan will be accepting you as a suitor. You might be taken for a fool. I don't want you to get involved in this because of my weakness. I don't deserve such generosity. I don't even." Hinata said him. "I don't know exactly what you think of me, no, and honestly, I could care less. But you are a very nice person, and don't you ever call yourself weak again. Feeling down like that will only make things worse. Believe in yourself. Believe in your strength." And another thing, Hinata was impressed at his words. He was so much more mature one could ever think. "If I promise to help you, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep that promise. Because I never go back on my word. That's my nindo. Databeo." Hinata's eyes widened at hearing this last phrase. Never go back on my word. These words flew through Hinata's mind. She then gave Naruto a huge smile and hugged him. Naruto stood there frozen. He has never been hugged before in his life. His cheeks were as red as Hinata's. "Thank you so much, Naruto-kun. I was so sad and you made me happier today. I promise I will become stronger so you can help me change the Hyugas. And like you, I won't go back on my word, because that is my nindo too," said her. Naruto's mouth was widely opened. He was getting used to thanking people and giving them hugs and promises. But never before he received these hugs and promises from someone else. He could only smile back at her. "So," said him, with a bright red blush on his cheeks. "Are you busy tomorrow morning?" "I don't know why," asked her. "Well, because you see," said Naruto. "My friends and I have this training ground, all by ourselves, at the northwest border, so I was wondering if you could show up there. We could all train together. Besides being fun, it would be quite a productive training. What would you say?" "Well," said Hinata, "it might be difficult. My father is a good, comprehensive man, but I think he'd rather have me training under his tutelage." "Oh, I understand," said him. "But if you manage to convince him to train with us, come over by breakfast time. We always begin out training after that." "Okay? Okay, Naruto-kun. I'll see what I can do," answered her. "Oh, thank Kami, there you are, Hinata-sama," said a voice that caught the kid's attention. "Oh, it's you, Ko," said Hinata. "I've been looking all over for you, Hinata-sama. What are you doing with this brat? Come, your father is worried about you," said him, as he grabbed Hinata's hand and dragged her away from Naruto. "Bibi, but Ko, wait, what are you? You are not to be seen close to him, Hinata-sama. Do you understand?" said Ko. He knew about Naruto's condition, but he couldn't say a thing. "But why? He is such a nice." "He is not what he made you think he is, Hinata-sama. He's not to be trusted. Besides, you are the heiress of the Hyuga clan. You have better things to do than hang around with low-life orphans like that boy," said Ko. Hinata was always a timid and calm soul, but something seemed off about Ko's reaction towards that boy that she couldn't take anymore. She snapped. "That's enough, Ko. As the Hyuga heiress, I demand you let go of me." Ko was absolutely terrified at this unknown Hinata. He let go of her hand and stood there frozen, as he saw Hinata's complete 180-degree turn on her personality. "He gave me happiness when all of you members of the clan gave me sadness. He offered help with my training while the elders pushed me like I was a slave, and he promised to become Hokage and help me get rid of that accursed seal I so despise to save me and my upcoming little sister, while you just stand still, just waiting for fate to knock on your door like there's no escape. And he is my friend, and I will not allow you, nor anyone else in the clan to insult him. I don't know how much do you know about him, but I know one thing for certain. He is not a low-life brat, he is an honorable person, and he will become the greatest shinobi Konoha has ever seen. And I will work hard to become as strong as he is. Don't you ever dare to treat him like that again, Do you understand? Yelled her, as she was catching up with her breath. Ko drifted in his thoughts. This is not the Hinata-sama I once knew. She seems to have become as strong as the Hokage-sama himself for a moment there. Did that Jinchuriki really give her so much strength? Ko was upset at some of his thoughts, but he could not refuse Hinata's orders. So he just answered yes, Hinata-sama. I apologize for my behavior, as he escorted Hinata back to the Hyuga compound. I better start paying attention to that Jinchuriki's movements. I must report Hinata-sama's behavior to Hayashi-sama immediately, he thought. Hinata's thoughts were more positive. Thank you, Naruto-kun. You made me so much stronger today I can barely recognize myself. I promise you I'll become stronger, because like you, I never give up on my word. Because that's my nindo. She returned to the Hyuga compound, ready to challenge whoever dared to stand in the way of her newfound dreams, which included the salvation of the Hyuga clan and Naruto's heart. Chapter 3, The Fellowship of Fire. That night, Hyuga compound, Hyuga Hayashi, the head of the Hyuga clan, was checking the many papers to be handled with for about 3 hours straight after dinner. Apparently Hiruzen was not the only one in Konoha that had to deal with paperwork all the time. Hayashi was not as busy as Hiruzen, but he liked to skim through the paperwork to drift his mind off more troublesome matters, like the one that Ko, one of the main house's most trusted servant, brought. He tried the best he could to drift his mind of that conversation they had, but it was burning through his mind. Around 90 minutes earlier, Hayashi-sama, there's something I'd like to discuss with you, if you could please spare some of your time, said Ko, bowing his head before the clan head as he entered his office. Hayashi put his reading glasses in the corner of the table, and raised his head to look at Ko. What seems to be the matter, Ko? Asked Hayashi. Is Hinata alright? I heard from a few members that you seemed intimidated by her when you two returned to the main house. That's one way to put it, sir, said Ko. You see, after she ran off the main house earlier, I've been looking around for a long time, and before you continue, Ko, said Hayashi, interrupting his servant, I want to know what is your opinion about the fact that I will have another daughter. Ko stayed silent for a few seconds, until he gathered the proper words to say. I consider the honor of a lifetime to be serving and protecting not one, but two potential candidates for our prestigious clan's heiress position, sir. Nothing makes me happier than being able to work hard for the sake of the Hyuga clan. And before he finished, Hayashi interrupted him again. You must surely understand, Ko said him, that the Hyugas are not supposed to fight just for the clan's own sake. We fight and risk our lives for Konohigaku no Sato, our true home and sanctuary. Ko stayed silent. He knew his attitude before was not the most correct, and he could not hide the shame. But don't blame yourself for that, Ko. Most of the troubles the Hyuga clan faces today are matters that were born inside this very house. My brother and myself are living proof of that. Hayashi raised from his desk as he approached a set of frames on the wall. Our difference of birth time was by a few minutes, and because of our clan's laws, even though our strengths were similar, he has been branded with the caged bird seal. His son Niji was born with the most developed Byakugan of the entire clan, but because of the clan's issues, he now believes to be cursed by fate. My brother's death last year didn't help him either. Niji holds a fierce grudge against us because of what happened, but it couldn't be helped, Hayashi-sama. If you were the one to be killed that day, the secret of the Byakugan would be revealed to Konoha's enemies. Hizashi-sama chose to die that day not because of the Hyuga clan, but because of his undying love for his family, friends and Konoha. You yourself believe in that, isn't that right, sir? Asked Ko, concerned about his master. Yes, Ko, you are right, said Hayashi. He did say that before he sacrificed himself. But I still believe that he was forced to choose that particular fate for him, and I fear that Niji might never forgive the main house for ruining his life, and that brings me to the concern of my upcoming daughter. I fear for her fate, and I want to do everything I can to avoid my brother's cruel destiny to repeat towards my two daughters. About the Hyuga's destiny, Hayashi-sama, said Ko. That's exactly the reason why Hinata-sama was so intimidating today. As some people pointed out today, Hayashi raised an eyebrow. He thought strange hearing that Hinata would be an intimidating person when it concerned the Hyuga clan. Really? Asked him. What happened? Ko took a deep breath and answered. When I was looking for her, I found her, and she was accompanied by that boy Naruto. Hayashi raised both eyebrows now. You're telling me my daughter has befriended the Jinchuriki? It seemed to be the case, Hayashi-sama, said Ko. I dragged her away from the Jinchuriki, and I was telling her to stay away from him. That's when it happened. What happened? Asked Hayashi. Ko lowered his head for a moment before he raised it again and answered. Hinata-sama snapped in anger and yelled at me, demanding I stop mistreating the Jinchuriki. Hayashi widened his eyes, for even considering such attitude would come from his calm and shy daughter. Ko kept talking. She said something about the Naruto boy willing to help her in her training, and even promising her to become Hokage to help her changing the laws of our clan regarding the caged bird seal. She even called him her friend. Although it's not in my place to judge her attitude, I honestly refuse to accept the possibility of the Jinchuriki becoming her friend. As a Jinchuriki, I only consider him to be a burden Konoha has to deal with, and that's enough for now, Ko, said Hayashi, raising his hand. I understand your feelings and the feelings of the majority of Konoha towards the boy. But we are a noble shinobi clan. Our takes on these matters must be that of shinobis. I agree with you that the thought of my daughter befriending the Jinchuriki is not what I thought it would happen. But I cannot say right now that I refuse that. His condition allows him to grow as a strong ninja. Maybe they would end up on the same genin team, or cooperate in joint missions, so befriending him is not as bad as you believe, Ko. I promise you I will be the one to judge the matter of the possible bond of friendship between Hinata and Naruto, if I may, Hayashi-sama, said Ko. Since you will be the one to have the final word on the matter, what am I supposed to do if Hinata-sama approaches him? Asked him. Hayashi took a deep breath and answered, your report assumes that Hinata is already changing her personality due to her interaction with the boy. As you reported, she seemed convinced and confident in standing up for him. This attitude, if well guided, will make her stronger than any training I can ever give her. For now, do as Hinata told you and don't mistreat him. And don't try to disobey her even you seem to be out of her sight. There is a reason why the Hyugas are known to be all-seeing. Put aside your hatred towards the Jinchuriki and let him stay close to her. Watch their movements and see for yourself if he is indeed the one that is making Hinata so strong-willed. Then report to me and I'll make my decision. Understand? Yes, Hayashi-sama, said Ko. I'll make my leave now, if you'll excuse me. Ko then bowed before Hayashi and left his office. The clan head then put back on his reading glasses and returned to the paperwork. Back at the present time, after reminiscing through the conversation he had with his servant, Hayashi stopped scanning through the paperwork and left his office. He then slid a bit the door to Hinata's bedroom and watched his daughter, as she slept peacefully, cuddled to her pillow and whispering Naruto-kun, with a big smile on her face. Hayashi couldn't help but raise an eyebrow, noticing how attached Hinata seemed to be for a boy she only first met that same afternoon. Apparently Ko was indeed serious when he pointed out that Naruto seemed to influence his daughter's personality and confidence. He then closed the door and moved to his bedroom, where his wife Hikari was sleeping. He laid down on his bed and kept his face facing the ceiling for about 30 minutes, unable to sleep. He thought about talking with Hinata the following day regarding Naruto. He just didn't know what to say to her. He couldn't think of anything as he turned sideways waiting for sleepiness to come. Hayashi was surprised by his wife's arms embracing him from behind. Is something the matter, dear? You took so long to come to bed, and you still can't sleep, said her. He then turned his face facing Hikari, and they stood a few inches away from each other. He took a deep breath and answered, it's been a long night, love. I'm worried about Hinata. She seems worried about having a sister, and she seems to have befriended the Naruto boy. You mean the Jinchuriki? Asked her. Hinata told me about him today when we were alone. You would never believe it if I told you. Really now, said Hayashi. What did she tell you, my love? She giggled at his husband's curiosity. Hayashi always positioned himself as a strong and wise man, but before her he seemed weak and clueless. Hikari was going to ease his pain, but just a bit. She told me that the Naruto boy was determined to help her with the issues regarding the dirty practices of the clan elders. She told me that he told her, as I quote, when I become Hokage, I will change the Hyugas. Databeo, and if I can't change the Hyugas, I'll make those nasty elders of your clan eat a dozen oaths for breakfast, lunch and dinner to save you. And if even that is not enough, she stopped talking. Hayashi waited for the end of the boy's quote, but it never came. And? Then what? Asked the curious Hayashi. Now that is a little girl's secret, said her, giggling. If you want to know the rest, ask her yourself, although she won't say it so easily. Hayashi could only sigh, as he laid his head on the pillow. I'm still worried about Hinata though. Not only is she befriending Naruto, she also seems to have her doubts about her sister. Oh, I think that issue is history now, said her. Hayashi raised an eyebrow and looked at Hikari. What do you mean by that? He asked. She giggled again. Answered. After she talked about the boy, she said she had a name for the baby. Hayashi widened his eyes and opened his jaw wide. I can't believe in this. She ran off the compound because of the baby. How could she have dash? At this moment, Hayashi had an insight. Could that boy be the reason? At first he just assumed Naruto's promise was a simple childish way to cheer Hinata up. Now he was even more curious about him. If his attitude made Hinata change so much, he definitely had to pay attention to him. But he put these thoughts aside. So what was the name Hinata came up with? Asked him. Hikari answered with a beautiful smile. Hanabi. That's the name Hinata came up for her little sister. And I loved it. Hayashi could only smile at hearing this. Okay then. Hanabi will be the girl's name. She will be quite a cracker amongst the Hyugas, said Hayashi. Hanabi equals fireworks/firecrackers. Both laughed and kissed each other before they bid goodnight, and laid down cuddling each other, as they slept peacefully. The following morning, Hyuga Hinata woke up drooling a bit on a pillow in which she had her arms and legs wrapped. She blushed a dark red shade, obviously making the association of the pillow with the cute sun-kissed blonde boy she just befriended the previous day, and put it aside. She was still a bit sleepy, but she quickly entered the bathroom, had her shower and wore a beautiful flower-patterned kimono. Then she opened the door and headed to the family's dining table. It was a large table, fit for around 20 plates from one end to the other, which rested just a few inches from the floor. Japanese tables are pretty low, because they don't sit on chairs, but rather on their knees. Her spot was close to the left end of the table, alongside her mother Hikari, with her father Hayashi sitting on the left end. Besides them, other few members of the main house sat on the table, including the clan elders. They were the strongest and most respected members of the Hyuga clan, and to them was passed on the secrets of the caged bird seal. They were also the ones who put them in every member of the branch house. The elders were responsible for keeping the order and discipline in both houses and for teaching the family heads to pass on the jukin, gentle fist, stance for the young ones. They demanded the training sessions to be as rigorous as they could possibly be, for no weaklings were allowed in the clan. The elders also made sure to be rigid about the psychological traits of the members. It was because of them that most of the members, especially those of the main house, were arrogant, snobbish, spoiled and mistreated anyone they didn't consider noble, which included about every single ninja and civilian in Konoha. They cared only for the grandness of the clan, and they would be able to sacrifice Konoha itself if it meant the clan's personal prosperity. The elders hated Hikari, for she was a kind and lovely person, and she made Hayashi, which they believed to be one of the Hyuga's finest ninjas, a caring father and a comprehensive and democratic man, whose opinion was respected by all, including the Hokage. They abhorred Hikari and Hayashi for not following their designs of strength and pride, but since they could not challenge Hayashi in fear of retaliation by the Hokage, they made it up by pushing Hinata's training to the level of slavery. And the fact that there was another daughter coming made the elders come up with plans to try to make either one of the girls their personal puppet. But they knew that as long as the girl's mother was around, their plans were futile. That is why this particular morning they tortured one of the servants of the main house and forced her to slip slow-acting poison in Hikari's favorite tea. The poison would make her body frail and weak. If the elders' assumptions were correct, Hikari would surely die while giving birth to the upcoming girl. Hayashi's pillar of strength would crumble, and they would make him do whatever pleased them. From this day forward, dark times were coming for the Hyuga clan. Hayashi, however, would not notice the upcoming chaos for quite a while. Today, after breakfast was over, he called his daughter to his office. When they got there, Hayashi brought the courage to talk what he was willing to. Hinata, I heard you displayed quite an unexpected behavior yesterday. Would you please care to tell me everything? And don't hide anything from me. You know I will be able to see if you are lying. Hinata could only lower her head as she faintly answered, Yes, father. I will tell you everything. She then told him about running away from the compound because of the whole issue regarding her upcoming sister, how she bumped into Naruto, and how he took aside all his personal concerns to cheer her up and promise her to help changing the clan from the inside. He did her best to hide Naruto's promise to marry her if everything else went wrong. Thankfully for her, Hayashi was too focused listening her saying good things about the Jinchuriki to pay attention through anything she avoided mentioning. She finished by telling her feeling towards Ko's rudeness towards Naruto, and how his confidence influenced her own to stand up for him. After she was done talking, Hayashi took a deep breath and finally gathered the proper words he would say to her. I recognize that the boy's attitude clearly boosted your spirits in a way no other Hyuga could build into you. However, as your father, I am only concerned about your own behavior as the primary candidate for clan heiress. There are a few things about Naruto's life that are of absolute secret that only the Hokage and the boy himself have the liberty to tell you, and if you knew of these secrets, and stood up for him like yesterday, some would consider your attitude inadequate, and our clan would be held responsible. That is why, for now, you are limited to interact with him solely on coincidental occasions. Do you understand, Hinata? Hinata wasn't happy at all with what her father ordered her to follow. She would not be able to meet Naruto wherever and whenever she pleased. She enjoyed his company so much she couldn't wait to meet him again. The decision her father took felt like a stab in the heart. But she, deep inside, understood the reason. She was still the Hyuga heiress, and as much as she hated to admit that, she had to fulfill her duties and responsibilities. She just answered, I understand, father, as she bowed before him, about to leave the room. One more thing before you leave, my daughter, said Hayashi. Hinata quickly turned to face her father, as she wondered what did he still want to discuss. Hayashi could only look her in the eye and say, I instructed Ko to pay attention to the way that you and Naruto interact with each other. Please understand that I'm only concerned about you. After all, you are my daughter. But if your assumptions are correct, and he proves himself to be a true honorable young boy, I will allow him to accompany you, and he will be received with open arms in this house. Hinata's eyes widened at hearing the concession her father would be able to give to Naruto. She could only thank him and leave his office as she thought to herself, You will see, father. Naruto-kun is the best person I have ever met in my life. You will like him, and if things go well, Hinata could only giggle and blush at her thoughts. She looked around to make sure no one noticed and headed happily towards the compound gardens, hoping to find a flower that combined with Naruto's sun-kissed blonde hair. Around 2 months later, Naruto's house. Naruto, Shikamaru, Ino and Chuji just finished their taijutsu sparring, as Naruto's Kage Bunshin scanned through more scrolls. Naruto's improved chakra reserves, added to all his molding exercises, allowed him to create up to 12 clones for now. But he found out that if he had only 4 clones working on their alternative trainings, he would not tire as much after dispersing them. So he was the only one of the 4 to stay up, as everyone else were too exhausted and were laid down on the grass, like usual. Since they were still too young to build muscles, no one seemed to change much. But Naruto did manage to grow half an inch, mostly of all because of all his various choices of breakfast throughout the last few weeks, compared to his life back then. Naruto thought for a moment about the changer everyone's bodies would go through. He imagined himself fairly tall and dashing, just like his father, especially by the time he starts using that cloak he's keeping. Chuji would probably keep his chubby appearance, because of the general stature of his clan, but he would definitely become the strongest of the group. Ino would be a flexible fighter, although he thought that her weapon-throwing skill would be as fine as his, if not better. And Shikamaru would probably not chance at all. Naruto thought that his friend would probably say something like building my physique would be too tiring and troublesome, and I'm too lazy for that. He giggled at his thought. Today the group went to the Yamanaka compound to have lunch. Naruto visited Ino's house twice before, but he was still amazed by the overwhelming garden that surrounded both the sight and smell of the environment. He asked Ino if he could take a few buds and start raising a garden of his own. She happily handed a few of them and gave him a gardening book. Naruto scanned through a few flowers, until he found a crystal white flower. He looked at the description, full moon flower, blossoms only during winter, and it's very hard to keep alive through spring. If one, however, manages to succeed it for 3 springs in a row, you can start building your own full moon flower field, and fill many bouquets with them. Naruto admired the flower, as it had a nice smell, and it reminded him of the crystal white reflexes on a certain girl's hair. He blushed a bit when he realized he was thinking about Hinata. He only met her at that particular day and never saw her since, but one day or another he couldn't stop thinking about her. He thought about Sasuke as well. He went to the playground every day, but he never managed to find him there. Maybe he ought to look for him in a few more places. For now, his attention was turned to Shikamaru, who asked him to come over for a minute so they could talk. What is it, Shikamaru? Asked Naruto, curious about the fact that his lazy friend would want to have a word with him after lunch. Shikamaru answered, here's our chance, Naruto. This afternoon Ino, Chuji and I are going to visit both the Inuzukas and the Aburames. Would you like to accompany us and talk to Kiba and Shino? Naruto gave him a big smile and nodded. Of course. What are we waiting for? Databao. On their way, Chuji told Naruto that the caterpillars on the Akimichi gardens were about to be born, and every year his father would go to the Inuzuka veterinary clinic to buy the proper medicines in case something went wrong during their growth process, and then go to the Aburame compound to trade some of the Akimichi's special hyaurangans for pollen and a special repel that avoided any other insect of coming and stealing the caterpillar's food. But since Chuza was away on a mission for the week, Chuji was designated to go on his behalf. The 4 kids left the Yamanaka grounds and walked over to the Inuzuka vet clinic. Chuji knocked the door and they were answered by Inuzuka-tsum, the clan head and Kiba's mother. Good afternoon, Tsum-sama, said Chuji. I am Akimichi Chuji. I came here to buy the medicines for the caterpillars. Tsum looked at him and started smelling the air, like a dog, which made the kids look at her with a curious look. After a few seconds she stopped and gave him a good look. Yup. Definitely you're Chuza's boy, alright, said her. We from the Inuzuka clan are not very good with facial memory, that's why we use our noses. And I picked a bit of your father's scent in you, so I know I can trust you now. But who are your friends? I might recognize a scent or two. Oh, of course, answered Chuji. The one on my left is my best friend, Nara Shikamaru. The girl on the right is Yamanaka Ino, and the other boy on the right is our mutual friend Uzumaki Naruto. Some picked the scent of them. She recognized Shikaku and Inoichi. These kids were their sons alright, but she picked 2 scents in Naruto she couldn't believe if she wasn't there to smell it. She did her best to ignore though, and told them to come inside and make themselves comfortable while she went to the deposit to pick the requested medicines. Naruto couldn't help but admire the place. It was full of different animals of all sizes and colors. It felt like the Yamanaka compound, although it didn't smell so good. The 4 kids noticed that Hana, Tsum's daughter and the eldest of her 2 children, was using her vet skills to patch up an injured falcon. It was a beautiful bird with light brown feather and a sharp beak. Apparently one of its wings was nearly clipped during a message delivery mission. Hana seemed to mend the bird's wounds very quickly. Everyone was admired by her amazing skills. Nei-san, that was incredible, uttered a voice. Everyone turned around to know how said that. It was Kiba, Hana's little brother, and the one they've been looking for. Howdy, Kiba. We've been looking for you, said Shikamaru. He didn't want to admit it, being lazy and all, but this time he was indeed looking for him, because of Naruto's idea of bringing as many people as possible to join the training sessions. Kiba noticed them and answered, Oh, hi there, Shikamaru. I see you brought Chuji and Ino with you, but who is the whiskered brat? Never met him before. Naruto was a little irritated at the Inuzuka boy. Suddenly everyone heard a high-pitched bark. Naruto leaned his head down to the floor to find a tiny puppy. The pup was barking and growling almost as if it was talking. What do you mean, Akamaru? Asked Kiba. Naruto stood there for a moment, trying to understand the situation, until he raised his eyebrows. Oh, right, the Inuzukas are supposed to cooperate with nindogs, he thought. Kiba looked at Naruto with suspicion. Akamaru was given to him to take care of around a month ago, and he already trusted him, but Akamaru's last statement was concerning. Does he really have that much power within? No, that's impossible, thought Kiba. Well, if Akamaru is right, then I'm not supposed to ignore him. He's fishy, but if Kiba and Chuji trust him, then it should be okay. So do you have a name or something? Asked the rude Kiba. Naruto popped a vein from his forehead, but he was inside the Inuzuka's house, so he went along. Uzumaki Naruto, and we have a proposal for you, said him. He was sure to bring the Inuzuka boy and his dog to the group. He went on explaining how he had a training field in his house, and that the four of them, meaning them and the Inoshikacho infants, would train there all the time. After Naruto finished talking and asked Kiba if he wanted to join them, Kiba asked for just 2 minutes, as he drifted in his thoughts. Well, that would certainly explain the strong aura around him, but what Akamaru sensed was something far wider within him. I don't know just yet what is he hiding, and how did he manage to have a house this nice? Is he really an orphan? He's just too suspicious, even for someone like me who doesn't think too much. Wait, did I just criticize myself? This Uzumaki brat is really something already. I'm afraid of how strong he might become if he's that obsessed already with training. I'm not gonna let him get ahead of me that easily. Besides, Akamaru could use the training too. Okay, I'm in. Okay, Uzumaki, you got yourself a couple more training partners. When do we start? Naruto gave him a fox grin. He knew Kiba would accept his offer. Tomorrow morning, depending on how early you come, you could have breakfast with us. We usually start training at 7:30 a.m. with weapons. After that we have taijutsu training. While your body is taking a break, you can take a few scrolls with ninjutsu and chakra molding exercises and practice your mind. Kiba already gulped. He was worried that 4-year-old kids like him were already training so much stuff in a single morning. They were definitely far ahead of him. Naruto kept talking. Then we have lunch and everyone is free to take the rest of the day off. Of course, I still train a bit my chakra molding. Kiba raised an eyebrow. Why would Naruto be so worried about chakra molding exercises? As a kid, chakra coils should not be developed for using ninjutsu yet. He definitely wanted to see that kid in action. Sounds like it's a rather tough training, said a suspect Kiba. But we're gonna be there tomorrow morning. Isn't that right, Akamaru? Akamaru barked in agreement. Tsum came back with the medicines Chuji requested, he paid for them, and everyone headed to the Aburame compound. The Aburame compound resembled the Yamanaka's in a way. It was very immersed within the Konoha eastern forest, with abundant fauna and flora. Ino was marveled by the vegetation, but she was also terrified at the amount of bugs that looked very threatening if you didn't play their game. As soon as they arrived at the main house, where lived Chibi, the clan head, the quartet was interrupted by a boy around their age, and around the same height as Shikamaru, with a white trench coat and small sunglasses that covered his eyes well enough. It's not every day you show up here, Ino, Shikamaru, Chuji. Please state your business, he asked. Naruto was a bit down for being ignored. He looked at the boy and remembered his father's genin team photo and made the resemblance. He immediately asked, You must be Aburame Shino, am I right? Shino raised an eyebrow, although it was ward for anyone to notice. Yes, you are correct. I assume you made a logical assumption based on either the fact that I resemble my father, or that you heard of me through our mutual friends. Since not many people know him, I must assume logically that you know me because you are befriended with the 3 people right here listening to our conversation. Am I correct? Naruto was a bit confused because he talked too much and too fast, but he paid enough attention to nod. Shino nodded back. Very well. Now if you would please state your business. My father is watching the hives as we speak, so we're only to move from here if it's important. Actually, said Chuji. The caterpillars were born today, and we would like to ask for pollen and repel. Shino raised an eyebrow. And I assume you brought something as exchange? Chuji nodded and took the sack of Hirongans. Shino picked the sack and asked the 4 guests to follow him. During their walk, Naruto started talking. Shino, would you be interested in joining our group for training? Shino looked back at Naruto, with an enigmatic look behind his sunglasses before he asked back. I don't see the logic on pushing myself so hard at an early age. Would you care to elaborate? Naruto started looking for complicated words that would make Shino be more eager to pay attention to him. He took a few seconds before he answered back. Well, first of all, it's only logical that we want to work hard for the sake of Konoha in the future. Second, we analyze the benefits of early training, not only for the mind and body, but also for our hearts and bonds of fellowship. At this point, everyone's eyebrows raised, for Naruto's choice of words. But Naruto was not finished. Third, our training has all the basics of the academy covered and a bit more. Fourth, we work on our weaknesses the most. And fifth and final argument, well, it's not exactly a sound argument, but I'm trying to gather as many people as I can and befriend them all, so I can slowly understand what it takes to be a great Hokage. Databeo. The Inoshikacho infants were looking at Naruto with a smile on their faces. Ino was wondering what motivated Naruto so much. Chuji thought that Naruto was a very brave person, but also very kind and decided. Shikamaru thought that since Naruto was not lazy like him, he had higher chances. Shino them stopped moving, which forced everyone to stop walking as well. Shino turned back facing Naruto. He approached him and slightly raised his hand, willing to shake hands with Naruto. Then he started talking. Your final argument was the most logical one you presented. You obviously care about Konoha and your friends, and it would be an honor to train with such a fine person as you. Naruto smiled and shook hands with Shino. Then the trench coat boy turned back and started to walk again, as everyone followed. In 2 minutes they finally arrived at the Aburame's personal field of insect rearing. That's where the Kakaicha bugs were raised, trained, and breed. Aburame's Shibi was checking a big hive when he heard the children coming. They then turned around to face them and looked at each individually. By your appearance and the Hyarangon sack in my son's hands, I suppose you must be Akimichichu's son, and you are looking for the repel and pollen to raise your butterflies, is that correct? Chuji only nodded. Shibi jumped from the tree and picked a small box and a vial of glass. He only nodded to make sure Chuji understood logically that he got what he wanted. I would be glad to chat with all of you, but logically I can't because of clan's duty. So if you'll excuse me, Shino, escort them back and then, come help me, said Shibi, before jumping back to the tree. Shino only nodded as he escorted the quartet back. Naruto took this chance to talk about how the group trained, and that they started early in the morning. Shino only nodded a few times. When Naruto talked about the chakra molding exercises, Shino raised both eyebrows, as his thoughts were similar to Kiba's regarding how incredible Naruto must be if he had such large chakra reserves. Shino offered to bring honey to serve everyone as condiment for the breakfast. Everyone's face was slightly blue at the possibility of being full of insects, but they accepted his offer nonetheless. After the 4 kids left the Aburame compound, Naruto left a relaxing sigh. Phew, thank Kami all went well today. Now we have 6 people. Databeo. And a dog too, don't forget that, said Shikamaru. Everyone giggled. Ino put her finger in her lips for a moment, with a thoughtful look, as she said 6 people, that's about 2 genin teams already. Do you think we can find more people? Naruto gave her a fox grin with both hands behind his head. Well, I already managed to find 2 people, and I'm going to convince them to join our group. Chuji gave him a curious look. 2 people? That means you found someone else besides Uchiha Sasuke? Who is he? Naruto just gave Chuji another fox grin. Not him, her. Her name is Hyuga Hinata. Everyone was flabbergasted at Naruto again. Wait, said a very impressed Shikamaru. Not only an Uchiha, now you befriended a Hyuga as well? Just how do you even manage these things? Are you from nobility and we're not aware of it? Naruto actually sweat dropped at this statement. He was in a way, as he was the son of one of Konoha's noblest people ever. Heck, he even had his face engraved in the greatest monument of the shinobi world. Naruto could only chuckle. Well, if I were, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? Everyone chuckled with him, unbeknownst to them that he actually meant it, as everyone parted ways. Naruto's smile faded as he remembered he hadn't met Hinata again in 2 months. Since it was mid-afternoon, Naruto decided to go to the playground and look for either her or Sasuke. 2 weeks later, New Year's Eve, the training showed more signs of paying off. After Shino, Kiba and Akamaru joined the group, they created another session of training by Kiba's surprisingly clever idea. In addition to the taijutsu sparring, the 6 ninjas to be started working on their reconnaissance skills, tracks, dirt, and other basic aspects that would help them track down their enemies. Naruto thought about starting a training for chakra signature reading, but he hasn't mastered the chakra molding exercises, so that would have to wait. So far, he started learning about climbing trees. He was able to run up to 15 or 20 feet until he'd lose focus and fall to the ground on his feet. He decided to use a kunai to mark his records, but he made almost 0 improvements in 2 weeks ever since he started. Today was New Year's Eve, so no one came to train. It was Naruto who said that they would take this particular day off. He also said that after the training, he would pay everyone a visit to give them New Year gifts. Naruto was heading to one of the few grocery stores he was comfortable to buy at. Today, though, it seemed that there were too many bags to carry, and he couldn't use Kage Bunshin without scaring the living hell out of people who knew about his condition. He thought that there would be an angry mob of people on a witch hunt, or rather a demon hunt, afraid of the fact that the Jinchuriki was getting stronger every day. So he had to pick up a lot of bags with his mouth and go from there. As soon as he left the store, a dark-haired teenager bumped into him. Naruto fell on the floor with his groceries and thanked Kami that he didn't buy any eggs or anything fragile. Naruto was about to pick all his bags again when he saw a hand facing him. He saw that the young man actually wanted to help Naruto getting up from the floor. The blonde Jinchuriki raised his head to see who he was. He was impressed at the figure. It was Sasuke's older brother. Naruto smiled and thanked him. Sasuke's brother offered to help him with the groceries. They started walking to Naruto's house. Naruto and the young man were walking in silence for a few minutes. Naruto then realized it was his chance to find out about Sasuke. Say you are Sasuke's older brother, right? The young man nodded. My name is Uchiha Itachi. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto-kun. Naruto was impressed. That meant that Sasuke actually spoke of him. Maybe he could find out more? You know, Itachi-san, ever since that day we first met on the playground, I never met Sasuke anymore. You surely know where he could be, don't you? Itachi looked at the young blonde boy. He let a tiny smile run over his face. Not much. I've been busy with the ANBU missions lately. But I promise that today, when I meet Sasuke at our family dinner, I will tell him that you want to meet him again. Naruto was impressed again. Itachi didn't look like he was over 13 years, still he was a busy ANBU member. Wow, you are on ANBU already? Then you must be super strong. No wonder why Sasuke won't join our training group, he's got you already. Itachi could only lean his head down a bit. Actually, Naruto-kun, since that day you and my little brother first met, I was promoted to ANBU and I couldn't help him out with his training anymore actually. I'm very glad I could meet you here, today of all days. Naruto was surprised by Itachi's statement. Did that mean Itachi would talk to Sasuke about him joining his group? That is why, Naruto-kun, that I will talk to Sasuke tonight and tell him to join your training group, said Itachi, with a friendly smile. Naruto's smile was even bigger. He couldn't wait to see how strong the Uchiha boy was. If his brother was a professional ANBU at the age of 13, then Sasuke surely was strong as well. Speaking of ANBU, Naruto remembered his escort companion from one time or another, Hatake Kakashi. He told Naruto many stories about Konoha, the Sandangiji, the founding of Konoha by Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, their final battle at the Valley of the End, but he never talked about Naruto's parents, or his godfather Jiraiya of the Sannin. That's when Naruto had an idea. Say, Itachi-san, are you familiar with Hatake Kakashi? Itachi looked at him with a curious look. Yes, I do. I hold Kakashi-san in high regards. Why do you ask? Naruto explained a bit of his plan, not mentioning the truth about his parents. Of course, just because Itachi was an ANBU, that didn't mean that he knew who Naruto's parents were. As they finally reached Naruto's house, he thanked Itachi for his help and said that Sasuke could start training the week after New Year's Day. Itachi left with a few thoughts running through his mind regarding the Jinchuriki he just helped. But he would talk to Sasuke, nonetheless. He knew that Naruto had, deep inside, the will of fire, and that would help Sasuke in the future. Itachi bit his lip as he thought about his foolish and overly proud clan. Later that night, the New Year festival filled the streets of Konoha no Sato. There were traditional game stands, that included capturing your own goldfish, weapons throwing and many others. There were food stands everywhere, as well as clothing stores and thematic stands for the next year's symbolic animal, the boar. Uzumaki Naruto was accompanied by both Ino-Shikacho generations, which helped him enjoy the festival without being repressed by the civilians. Of course, some things were hard to avoid. When they went to the weapon-throwing game stand and Naruto hit all targets flawlessly, a civilian tried to shout that beast is becoming too powerful, we should kill before he received a death glare from the Ino-Shikacho adults which made him gulp. The infants looked at Naruto as he smiled, but they knew Naruto's smile was trying to hide some sort of pain. Ino whispered to his friends, "Do you think Naruto has some sort of secret that makes him so hated across the village? Not only this guy, but almost everyone we came across seems to hate him profoundly." Shikamaru looked at his companion who seemed hurt at the looks of hatred aimed at him. "I'm not sure. He does seem to have something hidden. Maybe it's his heritage. But even then, it would be too troublesome to make him talk about that. Naruto is not that kind of guy." Ino looked a bit down. She loved finding out about other people's secrets, which were the traits of the Yamanaka clan's specialty, interrogation and torture. "I have to agree with Shikamaru," said Chuji. "If Naruto has a secret, he has a strong reason to hide. Besides, he is our friend. When the time is right, he will tell us, don't you think so?" Ino and Shikamaru could only nod and smile at their friend's words. They would be quiet and patient and leave Naruto's secret in peace. For now, they would enjoy the festival as much as they could. Meanwhile, at the Uchiha compound, the Uchiha clan was gathered at the main garden. Half of the members of the Uchiha police force were allowed to take the day off to enjoy the festival. The other half was, in a way, enjoying the festival, as they were working in the happy streets of Konoha. Inside one of the rooms was Uchiha Fugaku, head of the Uchiha clan and father to Itachi and Sasuke. Itachi asked for a few minutes of his attention to have a conversation regarding Sasuke. Fugaku was hesitating, but since Itachi was too busy with the ANBU, he figured it would have to be something important. Fugaku looked as his son entered the room, bowed before him and sat in front of the table. "If you wanted to talk with me in a day like this, then give me a good reason," Itachi said him, picking a cup of tea. Itachi took a deep breath. He knew talking with his father would not be easy. "I will cut the small talk then. Today I met Uzumaki Naruto, and he asked if Sasuke could be allowed to join his training group." Fugaku nearly spilled his tea at hearing this. But he composed himself. He looked at Itachi, whose face was serious as the Hokage's. Fugaku put his teacup on the table and looked at his son. "Itachi, I'm not sure you are aware of Uzumaki Naruto's condition," but Itachi interrupted his father. He knew where this was going. "Yes, father. I am aware that Naruto-kun is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi." Fugaku was impressed. He couldn't believe Sarutobi trusted Itachi with this secret. He knew that a well-developed Sharingan would be able to control the Kyuubi, and that was the reason the Uchihas were not allowed to approach Naruto. "And that is exactly the reason I trust Naruto-kun, father," said Itachi. He still had a lot to say. "Because he does not care if my little brother is an Uchiha. He is gathering training companions to become great ninjas and protect this village with their lives. I hold Naruto-kun in high regards because he carries the will of fire inside his heart. And Sasuke would be benefited with all of this. He would have friends. Real friends. I don't want my little brother to be cursed with the Uchiha's pride." Fugaku could only lean his head to the floor and sigh. Itachi's mind was made up. His son's words were true. The Uchihas were too proud of themselves, and that would be their ruin. But he raised his head to confront Itachi. You know about the curse that befell the Uchiha clan many centuries ago, don't you, Itachi? Itachi shook his head. As much as he knew about many legends and stories about the Uchiha clan, these stories only confirmed the pride and strength. He wasn't aware that there was a legend confirming that the pride was actually a curse. Fugaku took a deep breath. It was going to be quite a long story. A long time ago, the world knew only war and hatred. Those were times of darkness and despair to mankind. The demons ruled the world and hope was just a four-letter word. That's when a great sage came to spread hope and peace on the hearts of men. He taught them the way of the Nishu and the secrets regarding the usage of chakra to control the elements of the world. He created all the ninja techniques we know nowadays, and was able to defeat the demons that covered the world in darkness. He became the Jinchuriki of the greatest demon in existence, the Jubi, and he was praised as a god amongst men. This man is known to this day as the Rakuta Sennin. Itachi widened his eyes. He heard a little about the legendary sage. At first he was deciding not to pay attention to this old legend, but he made up his mind and continued listening to his father. But even the great Rakuta Sennin was a mortal man. He had two sons whom he would trust the quest to find true peace to guide the world. The eldest was born from the sage's eyes. He inherited his mental strength and his cleverness, and wanted to build peace using his strength to eradicate evil. The youngest son, however, was born from the sage's body. He inherited his physical strength and his longevity. But most of all, he didn't want to destroy evil with his strength. Rather, he would guide the evil to its own purification through the way of love. In his deathbed, the Sennin chose as his main successor the youngest son, because of his philosophy. The eldest son, however, was not happy with that. Even though his methods were not the best, he loved his father and wanted to continue his legacy. When he discovered that would not be possible, his anger and hatred were so much that he wanted to kill his brother. And so they fought. But there was no victor. The fateful battle of the two brothers would go throughout the generations. In the end, there were two clans who were the main descendants of the two brothers. Descending the eldest brother, there were us. The Uchiha Itachi raised his eyebrows. That explained the pride and hatred of his clan. But he still didn't understand most of it. He kept listening his father tell the legend. The clan that inherited the youngest brother's love was the Senju clan. In the times of the first great ninja war, the Senju and the Uchiha fought numerous times. But our patriarch Madara befriended Hashirama, the Senju's patriarch, and they put an end to war. After that, Konoha was founded by both clan heads and everyone truly believed peace was at last reached. But Madara was too proud of our clan's power, and seeing that the Senju had, in a way, subjugated the Uchihas, since Hashirama was the Hokage, the cycle of hate was reborn. Madara abandoned Konoha and sought to destroy it, using the power of the Kyubi. You see, before the Rakuta died, he divided the Jubi's power in 9, this way creating the Bijus we know as of today. Then he sealed the Jubi forever in the skies, creating the moon. Itachi thought it was hard to believe in such act of power. But he kept these thoughts to himself, and so Madara used his power to control the Kyubi and tried to destroy Konoha. But the Hokage stopped him. He sealed the Kyubi and killed Madara. But you must have realized by now, Itachi. The Uchiha clan was born from hatred itself. The Sharingan itself is unlocked when an Uchiha's heart is filled with anger and hatred. And even the Manjikyu is only unlocked when your quest for power makes you go as far as killing those closest to you, bringing regret and ruin. That is why Sasuke will have a hard time with his friends. Imagine what would happen if one of them died. Hatred would consume him forever, and the consequences would be drastic. I care too much about our clan's issues, I know. But please understand, Itachi, it is our curse, and there's no escaping from it. Itachi raised his head to the ceiling. He couldn't see any stars, but he did want to gather the right words as he closed his eyes. He faced his father, and gave him his final argument. That is why, father, I believe in Naruto-kun. I see within him the strong will to protect Konoha, despite so many people hating him for being a Jinchuriki. He only cares about making them understand his life and his strong wish to love and be loved by those who are precious to him. He can break the Uchiha's curse, and that is why I want Sasuke to befriend him. In fact, I demand to. I have neglected him ever since I started taking the ANBU missions, and making him train with Naruto-kun will be my own way to apologize to him. Please, father, I implore you, said Itachi, bowing before his father. Fugaku could only look at Itachi, surprised at his son's conviction. Any other person would have given up hope after learning the awful truth. But not him. Not this Uchiha. Fugaku sighed as he finally gave in to Itachi's arguments. When can he start? Asked Fugaku. Itachi smiled at hearing his father's words. He had high expectations coming from the upcoming friendship of those two children. Naruto-kun said that, starting the week after tomorrow, his friends would resume their training. He also said that Sasuke is more than welcome to join them for breakfast, and eventually lunch at one of the other kids' compounds. Naruto-kun will make sure Sasuke befriends everyone, said Itachi. Fugaku noticed that, indeed, Naruto seemed determined to befriend his son. Maybe he could break the curse of the Uchiha clan. For now, he couldn't object, so he just asked Itachi to make sure everything went well. Itachi nodded and bowed before his father before he left the room and returned to the Uchiha festival. As Fugaku was also ready to leave, he thought, where did the Jinchuriki find the strength to stand against such hatred? Can he really break the curse of our clan before it's too late? I can only have faith for now. He returned to his clan's festivities and put these thoughts aside. Tonight they would celebrate the coming of another year. A year of hope and good fortune that would be able to make up for the many years lost due to the pride and foolishness of their past deeds. Meanwhile, at the Hyuga compound, the Hyugas also made a private New Year festival at their grounds. There was a large field that was used for special occasions like public duels and group training, but it was mostly used for festivities, like tonight. It was one of the only times of the year where the main house and branch house were seen together. Hyuga Hinata was walking around and chatting with as many people as she could. She was one of the few people who treated the branch house members as equals, and that is why she was the third most respected person amongst the clan, after her parents. Of course, this respect was not showed in public, because of the elders, who despised such caring people amongst the main house, that was supposed to be fearful and strong. But their plan was in action and that was about to change. Hyuga Hikari was in her bedroom, already tired after participating of the main events of the festival. She was pregnant for 4 months and a half, although it had been a little over 2 months after the announcement. No one but the elders could figure out that she was poisoned, because it was crafted in a way that would make its way through the chakra coils without being detected by the Byakugan. Not a single physician could tell the reason for Hikari's sudden weakness. Hayashi wanted to stand alongside her, but the elders said that he would be disrespectful towards his clan if he wasn't attending the festivities. Hayashi wanted to protest, but with his wife weakened, his own strength also started to fade and he could no longer challenge the elders like he used to. As his participation was no longer necessary, he hurried to their bedroom and stood beside his wife, very weakened for reasons he couldn't figure out. "How are you feeling, Hikari?" asked Hayashi. She looked at him, with sadness. That strong, composed and respected clan head was as devastated and weakened as she was. She knew the elders had done something to them. She could only comfort him. "Now that you are here, I feel much better, darling," said Hikari. She turned her head sideways to cough a few times. Hayashi approached her and put her head on top of his lap. "How is Hanabi doing?" asked him. Hayashi's worries were doubled, because he was afraid to lose not one, but 2 precious people to him. Hikari gave him a very faint, but reassuring smile. "Don't worry, she is fine. Everything will be fine." The physician assured that she will be born as a healthy baby girl. Hayashi was a little more tranquilized. But his heart was heavy. He felt sorrow in his heart, because of the fact that the elders had taken control of his actions, and little could he do to save his daughter from becoming their pawn. He could only look at his wife, fearing for her life. "Please forgive me, Hikari, I brought this upon you, and I failed you as a husband. I became weak and let those damned geezers best me. Without you as my pillar of strength, they will have their way and bring this clan to ruin. If only I weren't weak, fate would be different." Hikari looked at him. Hayashi dropped tears. She couldn't believe the sight of her husband crying. Even when his brother died for him, he didn't cry. The elders surely gave him hell. She could never be able to forgive them. With the remaining of her strength she leaned herself up from Hayashi's embrace, and turned around to face him. "You are not weak, Hayashi, my love. You are a strong man. If you weren't, I would regret forever for marrying you and giving birth to a beautiful girl, and so eagerly waiting for another. You say I give you strength, but your love and determination are what gave me strength as well. And you're not displaying it." Hayashi looked at his wife with his jaw wide open. Even at her state, she found strength to stand up and knock some sense into him. Where did she gather it from? She kept talking. "You are letting the elders play their old games and bring you down. Fate is not a single thread, but rather, it's a whole fur ball of intertwined wires. Every person has endless possibilities for their destiny, and they connect themselves with so many other people. What you need to do now is let your fate intertwine itself with those who are still able to build their own fates, and place your strength and faith on them, so they can change the fate of many others. The only reason why I haven't fallen yet is because I'm placing my faith in 2 young children whom I know their own fates will intertwine in a way that they will be bound forever. And their combined strength will put an end to the elders' designs and bring peace and true honor to the Hyuga clan." Hayashi could only gaze at Hikari, as her convictions slowly raised his spirits, if only a little. Maybe that's what he never noticed. For a moment he thought about her words. He was finally able to understand the will of fire so preached by the former Hokages. He finally understood that it was not only about protecting Konoha and its citizens, but also teaching the younger generations about the value of friendship and love, putting aside foolish pride that only teared people apart, and bringing them together through love and care to protect the one thing no one could be able to live without aside. Love, a place to call home. A place to stand ground and build a legacy through the ages. Not a legacy of strength and superiority, but a legacy of humility and determination to find peace of heart. Hikari found children whom she deemed worthy of carrying the will of fire. Hayashi could only ask her, "Hikari, these children whom you believe to have the will of fire, who are they? Please tell me." Hikari smiled at her husband. She was happy to know that he wouldn't give up. He wanted to believe the Hyugas could change. She wanted to keep her faith in secret, but Hayashi's decision made her think otherwise. She was going to tell him. The first child is, of course, our daughter Hinata. As the heiress of the clan, she is the only one who can help you stand up against those old geezers. But even then she is not strong enough to help you on her own. Hinata needs someone to stand alongside her. That is why the second child is one whom I believe to be her pillar of strength. And it goes by the name of Uzumaki Naruto. Hayashi's eyes widened. She was placing her faith on the Jinchuriki? Were all of those assumptions about him changing Hinata's personality correct? Could he really be that strong-willed? He looked at Hikari, demanding for a sound explanation. She noticed his look and gave him her reasons to believe in him. A few weeks ago, when I asked Ko to escort me through a walk in Konoha, I saw him talking with the sons of the Yamanaka, Nara and Akimichi clan heads. He kept saying something about tightening their training in their next session to improve their skills, so they could become great ninjas for Konoha's sake. I couldn't help but wonder how did he manage to overcome the hate and loneliness of a Jinchuriki's life and be able to forgive all the villagers who hated and abhorred him. That boy has pure love flowing through his veins, and the will of fire burning brightly in his heart. I finally realized that he was, indeed, responsible for Hinata's change of behavior. Hayashi now finally connected the dots. How Hinata now was taking on the tough training and lectures from him and the elders, how she was smiling more often, how she stopped acting as a weak and shy little girl. That boy may have the QB within him, but that did not make him a cursed boy. Much to the opposite, that power was a blessing. He is willing to protect Konoha regardless of everything that made his life a living hell. He keeps spreading love and care amongst everyone he stumbles upon and become friends with. Hayashi finally made up his mind. He would let Hinata train with Naruto's group. However, Hayashi wanted to have a talk with the boy. He wanted to make sure he was indeed worthy of Hikari's trust. For now, it was getting late. He gave his beloved wife a passionate kiss and bid her good night, as they cuddled in their sleep. The following morning, Yamanaka Ino was bored. Since the training sessions with Naruto and her other friends would only resume the next week, she wanted to hang around somewhere. She thought about visiting Shikamaru, or even Chuji, but she figured that Shikamaru would be sleeping, lazy as he is, and Chuji would want to help his father raising the caterpillars. She wasn't staying at her family's flower store either, so she decided to go to the playground and see if anyone would be there so she could have someone to play with, and befriend him or her. Heck, she even intended to see if she could find another companion to their team. So far, Naruto, Shikamaru and even Chuji found and recommended people to join the group, and she didn't make any contributions. No more. Today was the day she decided to find someone who could join them. As she arrived at the park, she saw a girl curled like a ball in the sandbox, crying. Ino couldn't help but admire the girl's beauty. She had a lovely natural pink hair, which she thought it was amazing. Her emerald green eyes were also pretty beautiful, although a bit reddened because of her tears flowing through them. Ino actually felt a little bit of envy of that girl's beauty. But her tears weren't a pretty sight, of course, and she decided to comfort the strange girl. "Hey, are you okay there?" asked a curious Ino. The pink-haired girl didn't look back. Ino approached her and wrapped her arm around the other girl's shoulders. "If you keep crying like that, these tears will disfigure your pretty face and you will become ugly, you know," said a teasing Ino. The pink-haired must have believed her, because she stopped crying right away and looked at her. Am I really pretty?" asked the girl. "Of course you are. Don't be silly, I actually envy your beauty, and that is a lot coming from me, you know," said Ino, chuckling at her auto-criticism. The pink-haired girl couldn't help but giggle a bit. "But I do say, behind your pretty hair you have a big forehead there, girl." "It's almost a billboard of its own," said Ino, giggling a bit more. The other girl immediately curled again and was about to fall in tears again. "Oh, I touched an open wound there, now didn't I?" thought her. Ino had an idea. She reached a pocket of her shorts and found a red hairband. Ino asked the girl to lift her head and stand still. The girl obeyed. Ino put the hairband on the girl's head with a small touch here and there, and then it was ready. She picked a mirror from her other pocket. Purses are not the only alternative galaxies women carry, you know, and handed it to the pink-haired girl. She was amazed by Ino's work. The hairband made her forehead as clear as the sun, but the way her hair was arranged made the forehead actually look a bit charming, in a way. The reason you don't like your forehead is because you try to hide its existence. If you show to everyone that you love every bit of yourself, then they will accept you and stop making fun of you. If they won't understand, well, screw them, said Ino, tapping the other girl's forehead. The pink-haired girl gave Ino an ear-to-ear smile. "Thank you so much for your help." "You're right, I should stop hating myself," said her. "I'm Haruno Sakura, by the way." "Nice to meet you." Ino smiled at her and put her hand in a handshaking position. "Yamanaka Ino." "Nice to meet you too, Sakura-chan." They played all afternoon long, and before you knew it, they became best friends. That evening, at the Hyuga compound, Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki Naruto were really happy to meet each other after almost 3 months. Earlier that day, after lunch, Naruto was checking his father's photo album, when a Kage Bunshin dispelled, informing that someone was approaching his house. He packed and sealed some of his belongings before he turned around to receive his guest, which happened to be Ko, Hinata's personal bodyguard. Naruto remembered his behavior the other day, but he wasn't worried. If Ko knew about this place, it was because Hinata told him, since she knew about it. Ko explained his reason to be there. Hayashi-sama, our clan head, wants to speak to you in person, Uzumaki-sama. Since Hinata-sama told me where you lived, I was ordered to pick you up and escort you to our compound. Naruto was really impressed at both his chance to see the head of such an important clan. He left a few Kage Bunshins to take care of the house, study some scroll and notify him of any visitors. Ko tried his best to avoid having his jaw hit the floor with the young Jinchuriki's performance. As they walked towards the compound, Naruto gasped at the size of the compound as he arrived. He noticed the looks of hatred and disgust from some of the clan members, but he didn't care. Hinata was on a private training session with Hayashi, which he made sure the elders would not attend, to avoid any conflicts between them and the blonde Jinchuriki that was coming. He finished the training session as his activated Byakugan noticed Naruto's presence. As he entered the room, and Hayashi said to his daughter that she should welcome her guest. As soon as Hinata saw Naruto, she rushed and jumped at him, giving Naruto a tight hug and making them fall on the floor, much to Hayashi's both amusement and a bit of jealousy. Hinata noticed her face was a few inches from Naruto's, and both kids blushed a dark crimson from their cheeks. Hinata almost fainted, but she feared that Naruto would be punished somehow and quickly stood up. Hayashi granted the kids a playtime in the clan's private garden and they stayed there all afternoon long, talking about everything that happened during all the time they were far from each other. Hayashi clearly noticed Hinata's personality to hit an 180-degree turn when accompanied by the young Jinchuriki. She was much happier and cheerful. He had to remember thanking Naruto later. When dinner was ready, Hayashi made sure Naruto would sit beside him to avoid retaliation from any other member of the clan. Fortunately, aside from a few glares of hatred, the dinner went well. After dinner was over, Hayashi summoned Naruto to his office so they would have a private conversation. As soon as Naruto sat down in front of Hayashi's table, the clan head stopped scanning through his paperwork and started the conversation. As I understand, Naruto-san, you are willing to help my daughter with her training, alongside your friends, is that correct? Naruto only nodded. Hayashi closed his eyes for a few seconds, until he started talking again. I'm sure you are aware that my daughter is to be the heiress of the Hyuga clan, which brings 2 points in question. One is that her training should be a responsibility that she carries, and that alone would prove that no tutelage or training anywhere else other than here at the Hyuga compound, and some of it at the academy would be necessary for her. Second, is that I must be able to trust those who approach her. I don't hold grudges over the other clan heads, although our relationship with the Uchiha clan is not quite pacific. And as much as Hinata holds high regards for you and my wife trusts you, my trust, however, is not easy to earn. As Hayashi was about to talk some more, Naruto raised his head, and Hayashi recognized his act to be a request to speak. He let the boy speak his mind. I know your trust will be hard to earn, Hayashi-sama, especially considering my condition, said Naruto. Hayashi raised an eyebrow. He knew Naruto endured hatred, but he had no idea that the boy was already aware that he was a Jinchuriki. He listened as Naruto kept talking. But ever since I learned the truth about my life and of those who sacrificed themselves for my sake, I learned one thing, and it is that I would have to learn to overcome hatred itself and use my power to protect Konoha as long as I live and become a Hokage greater than any other that ever came before me. That is the only way I have to honor my parents' sacrifice. Hayashi widened his eyes. Certainly that boy was determined to become a valuable shinobi for Konoha, and he valued the principles of the Hokages that valued their village more than their own lives. But what impressed Hayashi most was the fact that Naruto acknowledged his heritage. Naruto-san, I wasn't aware you knew of your heritage. Is it of knowledge of Hokage-sama that you know of this information? Asked him, curious. He certainly was impressed by this new information he acquired about the blonde Jinchuriki standing before him. Yes, Sandaime-sama, note to readers, don't say GG in front of a clan head, was the one who trusted me with this secret, which is, by the way, a SS rank secret. It's even more concealed than my special condition. If you want to, I can order a Kage Bunshin to talk to Sandaime-sama and see if you're allowed to know the truth. Hayashi shook his head. He thought it would be best to remain concealed until the time was right. But he couldn't believe what he just heard. At this age he can use Kage Bunshin already? What a fantastic chakra he must have, he thought. He made up his mind. Okay, Naruto-san. I think most of my concerns can be put aside. You certainly proved yourself to be worthy heir of the Will of Fire. Even I was just able to understand its conception yesterday, yet you at your young age proved to be wiser than me in this particular asset. Naruto couldn't help but give a fox grin, with a hand behind his head and blushing his cheeks with a compliment coming from such an important person such as Hyuga Hayashi. From now on, Ko will escort Hinata to your house every morning to your morning training, and at lunch, she will be escorted back to this house. If you keep proving your worth and honor, I will eventually allow her to join any eventual afternoon trainings you might want to have. Understood? Naruto bowed before him in gratitude, although what he really wanted was to leap in joy. But he knew better than to piss off the Hyuga clan head inside his office in the middle of night. Before you leave, Naruto-san, would you please inform how many members your training group currently has? Naruto nodded as he listed the names. Including him and Hinata, there were Aburame Shino, Inuzuka Kiba, Yamanaka Ino, Akimichi Chuji, Nara Shikamaru, Uchiha Sasuke and Hirono Sakura, Akage Bunshin provided him with the information regarding Sakura as Ino visited him to inform him so. Hayashi raised his eyebrow. Not only did he manage to gather enough people for 3 genin teams, he also managed to bring an Uchiha into the mix. While Hayashi was at first worried, his assumptions about Naruto's possible endeavors to convince the Uchiha to join the group made him believe that would be a fine idea after all. He thanked Naruto for understanding his reasons to be concerned. Naruto thanked him for granting him a chance to help Hinata with her training and said that the group would resume their training next week. Naruto bowed before him and left the office, being escorted by Ko to the exit of the compound and then by Kakashi to his house. Naruto tried to make Kakashi talk about his parents, but the scarecrow-haired ninja remained silent, reading a strange orange book. Hayashi made his way to his bedroom, where he had a small conversation with his wife and thanked her for helping him understand the true nature of that promising kid. He knew Hinata was in good company, after all. The next week, it was an amusing scene to say the least. 9 children were sitting on a training field with a giant towel covering their breakfast, although anyone would rather call it a picnic. Standing on a corner, there was Uchiha Sasuke. Alongside him, Hirono Sakura and Yamanaka Ino would try to start conversations with the raven-haired Uchiha. He was slightly irritated with Sakura a bit more, since the Yamanaka girl would actually be willing to talk about training instead of just general boring subjects, although both girls were annoying. Inuzuka Kiba, along with Akamaru and Aburame Shino, were sitting on another corner, talking about their general impressions on the 3 new people who joined the group. Shikamaru was commenting with Chuji how troublesome women were, since Ino abandoned them to hang with Sasuke, while Chuji only agreed as he wolfed down whatever he could eat. Naruto was sitting alongside Hinata and eating a cake she learned to cook with her mother, which made Naruto say wow. This is divine. Databeo, I might actually consider marrying you just to eat this every day, which made Hinata faint with a smile and Naruto pick her up and imploring her to live, or else Hayashi would kill him. After breakfast was over, Naruto gathered everyone to stand in a circle. Alright. I hope everyone enjoyed your New Year festival. A new year begins, and that means new challenges for us as we grow up. And as much as I wanted to train hard and make through the academy as early as possible, it's best for all of us to start academy at 8, like everybody else. Even though we will be far ahead of any other student of our period, patience and deception are tools and ninjas should make most of use. Since this is a new year, we renew ourselves, and that is why I want everybody to introduce themselves. Since we have 3 new people here, that should help us to get acquainted and build bonds of fellowship that will certainly benefit Konoha in the future. Databeo. Everyone was surprised at Naruto's display of maturity way above their age. Hinata had a huge smile as she felt that her own strength was increasing just to hear his words. So I'm just gonna begin with myself. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I love ramen and my friends above anything else. My hobbies involve training and meeting new people. Prankster Naruto will be born in the academy days, since now he doesn't need to study what he already knows. I hate people who refuse to accept others around him because of something they have no control of. And my greatest dream is to become a Hokage even greater than any other that came before and protect Konoha. Databeo. His statement of becoming Hokage granted a smile from the Ino Shikacho infants, a nod from Shino, a smirk from Kiba and Sasuke, a chuckle from Sakura, who thought he was a little dazed off on a foolish quest, and a really admired Hinata. My turn now. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I love my family, and especially my Anai-san. My hobby is training. I hate how my family is not in good terms with Konoha because of their pride. I dream of changing the Uchihas and becoming a great shinobi just like my Anai-san and protect Konoha as well. Most boys had their eyebrows raised. He really was different from the other Uchihas. Sakura and Ino were admiring his coolness. Hinata was rather impressed to see that he also set aside his pride. Naruto knew he found his best friend right there. My name is Yamanaka Ino. I love my family, and flowers. My hobbies involve studying them and hanging around with my friends, and also training. I hate people who don't respect the beauty of life. My dream is becoming a great kunoichi and an interrogation and torture expert just like my father. Everyone's face was a little blue. Sakura was already fearing for her life. My name is Inuzuka Kiba and this here is Akamaru. Bark. I love my companions. Me and Akamaru like to take walks together and be aware of our surroundings. I hate cats and people that mistreat animals in general. My dream is to prove myself worthy of leading the pack. Isn't that right, Akamaru? Bark bark. Everyone's reaction was that he's a little full of himself, but nevertheless, a good guy. No one was really impressed. My name is Hirono Sakura. Well, I love my friends, or rather, my only friend Ino and my hobbies include playing around. I hate people who criticize others because of small details. I don't really have a big dream now, but I would be happy to live a relaxing life after I had enough with the shinobi life. Everyone looked at her with a curious look. If she wasn't that excited about shinobi life, why waste time? Did Ino just invite her for being her friend, without thinking if she really was worth? Or did she lack a true motivation? People were a bit divided, but they would get to know her and then maybe build some confidence in her. My name is Akimichi Chuji. I love my family and my friends. My hobbies include eating a lot and raising the butterflies of my clan. I hate people who don't respect our clan's chubby aspect. And even though I don't like violence, I hope to become strong enough to honor my family and protect Konoha. The other kids' reaction just included smiles and nods, although Shikamaru and Ino had a bigger smile. I know my name is Hyuga Hinata. I love my parents and my friends, especially she looked at Naruto and blushed a deep red. Well, my hobbies include training and playing around my family's garden. I don't like the internal conflicts of my clan, and my dream is to inherit my father's strength and my mother's kindness and change the Hyugas, and hopefully, marry Naruto-kun. Everyone was rather impressed that she, just like Sasuke, would cast aside her pride for the benefit of Konoha. Sakura thought that maybe she would have to be more like Hinata if she wanted to have a future in the shinobi life. Naruto smiled at Hinata, which made her blush. Ino noticed Hinata's reaction to Naruto's smile, and was admired at her. At their age, she already knew more about love than everyone else. Ino sighed and hoped to find someone who made her heart skip a beat. Meanwhile, she would play matchmaker. She had a fox grin just like Naruto's at this thought. My name is Aburaim Shino. I hold my parents in high regard, and I'm fond of insects. It should be obvious, since we are Kakaichi users. As much, my hobbies include studying about insects, and helping my father with the hives. I despise people mistreating our clan because of our nature. My dream is to make people comprehend our clan's importance in Konoha, without them thinking we are snobbish people. Everyone's reaction was well, they never thought about it, but the Aburaim clan seemed to be really nice. So they happy to see Shino committing himself to honor his clan and still be a valuable shinobi with the will of fire. It's my time already? Such a drag on. My name is Nara Shikamaru. I like my family and friends. Although I never thought about other things to begin with. That would be too troublesome. My hobbies would include playing shogi and watching the clouds. I suppose since I'm lazy, I hate waking up early in my dream? I think that I just want to live the thrill of a shinobi life, and then relax a bit. Pushing myself too hard is too troublesome for a guy like me. Everyone's sweat dropped. Sakura thought that this guy was a joke. Sasuke just smirked. He knew the Nara clan was full of clever strategists, so he knew Shikamaru was going to become a hell of a ninja without working too hard. Naruto had a half smile across his face. But he knew that Shikamaru had the will of fire, so everything was going to be alright. He returned to assume the center of the circle to talk with his friends. Well, it seems we all got to know each other. The reason why I wanted to do this introduction is to see that we all have differences. That is what makes us work together. To be able to understand the differences between those who will probably become your genin teammates. We can work strategies and tactics to cover our weaknesses and improve our main abilities. We fight for our friends, we protect Konohagaku no Sato, and most importantly, we create bonds of fellowship that will stand for generations to come. The Hokages are responsible to not only protect Konoha, but to lead our hearts to follow the will of fire. That is what I believe, and that is why I want to be the greatest Hokage Konoha has ever seen. Databeo. Excuse me, Naruto, said a very skeptic Sakura. Everything you say is pretty remarkable and all, but what is this will of fire you talk about? Naruto couldn't blame her. She was from a non-shinobi family, and the civilians didn't harvest the will of fire in their hearts as fondly as the shinobi families did. I'm glad you asked, Sakura-chan. You see, the shinobis carry in their hearts the will to protect Konoha. The will to create bonds of fellowship and love. The will to overcome hatred and bring peace to the world. And these strong wills burn in our hearts like an undying fire. That is what the Shodaime called the will of fire, and it is passed on through the generations to come. And we are the next generation to carry out this strong will. Save for the Ino Shikacho infants and Shino, everyone else was flabbergasted. Sasuke had a smile on his face. Hinata was already lost in admiration. Her infatuation became true love a long time ago, and seeing Naruto like that only confirmed her feelings. That is why, said Shikamaru, Naruto brought us here together. Because he truly believes that we are the ones with the potential to bring forth a new age to Konoha, and make it prosperous and peaceful. I don't know why, but Naruto already faced a lot of hardships through his life, especially being an orphan. For some reason, he was able to overcome whatever hatred the villagers hold against him, and wishes to protect them. Don't ask me why he is so hated, that is too troublesome for me to get into. When the time is right, Naruto will reveal the truth about himself. For now, what we can do is being here as members of this new generation that will shake the very foundations of Konoha. Sakura felt her ego shrinking before such amazing and mature people. She was from a civilian family, and she had no idea how mature shinobi kids already were compared to her. The fact Naruto had some sort of dark secret that required a whole different level of trust that could probably only be possible through valuable shinobis didn't exactly help her either. As much as she hated to admit, she didn't belong there. And that is why I'm here, said Hinata. By learning the meaning of the will of fire, I can become a strong person for the sake of those I hold dear to my heart. She glanced at Naruto, and blushed a bit. My clan is facing many issues lately because the elders who guide my clan had their flames of the will of fire extinguished. My clan has become arrogant and foolish, and I plan to fix that. In the beginning I didn't know how, because I felt stuck and unable to do anything. If I hadn't known Naruto-kun, I'd never. She stopped talking, as she noticed her speech drifting towards what seemed to be a love confession, and was blushing a crimson red. Naruto wasn't sure why, clueless as always, but he blushed by such flattering and couldn't stop thinking that Hinata looked really cute blushing like that. He blushed a bit more at these thoughts. Ino whispered a few words to Sakura, who realized what it was all about. Everyone else rolled their eyes around, seeing where this was heading. Anyway, said Naruto, still blushing. Today, we are creating a new fellowship. A fellowship that will carry out the strength and will to protect those we hold dear, and we are going to let Konoha know that, no matter what happens, we will protect them with our lives. Now let's begin our training. Databao,